Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the VoxWork podcast. I am your host, Asmogan, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Nathan X 2000. Once again, a pleasure to be with you, gentlemen.
I am Nico40K, and I am always pleased to be doing this with you guys.
Fantastic. It's good to have you both here, and Nico has brought today's topic. That being our most underrated subfaction, and I believe we made a last-minute alteration to the pitch, that being a pick from the Imperium/Chaos and/or Xenos.
So who wants to go first?
I'll go first, and I think we should structure it like this.
Okay.
We all go through our pick for humanity/chaos,
Mm-hmm.
and then after we've all gone through once for that, then we all go through for a Xenos pick.
Sounds absolutely perfect, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for my humanity pick, I decided to go with the Orcan Stone Crushers. So I almost forgot these guys existed, but I knew they did. Like I when this was first pitched, I first thought through like what most people would, which is I was thinking through like the most underrated, subfaction, and immediately my brain went to like Space Marines. It's like, okay, what's the most underrated Space Marine faction? But I was like, no. Like I can think of some lesser popular Space Marine factions, but even the most underrated Space Marine subfaction or chapter is probably way more popular than like the most overrated sometimes Imperial Guard factions in many cases. So I decided, okay, I'm not going to go with Space Marines. I'm going to go with something truly obscure that I did know of prior, but that I might not recall as well. So I really started digging in my old brain for a while, and I finally recalled the Orcan Stone Crushers. So the Orcan Stone Crushers are an entirely Ogren abhuman Imperial Guard regiment, and they hail from a really high-gravity world called Orcus, hence the name Orcan Stone Crushers.
Mm-hmm.
And these guys are kind of what happens when you take orcs and Ogren and mix them even more together than they already are for similarities. Like, hyper-aggressive, sharpened teeth, wicked obsession with, like, fight. Like, Ogren are already big, lumbering doofuses, but they're not as, like, crazy aggressive as orcs are. So the Orcan Stone Crushers are kind of like that. And for Ogrens, they're super strong as well. So they're for Ogrens, they are like the Arnold Schwarzenegger and like Jesse Ventura or fucking Sylvester Stallone's. They're like the big buff guys of Ogrens.
It's sorry, just when you said that, it's like the Arnold Schwarzenegger of the Ogrens. Like, just kind of imagine someone would go like, "Hasta la vista,
What the fuck was that, boy?
Well, you know. Yeah, it's like how stupid Ogrens can get. So
Fuck. Oh my god. Oh, not even 10 minutes and Nico already fucking snort. Oh my god, that was magical.
You're welcome. All right, yeah, continue.
Yeah, generally speaking, the Orcan Stone Crushers, when it comes to like their reference, I think a very good sign and a major reason why I picked them is despite the fact that they're super cool, I ask either of you or the audience who knew they existed, like specifically the Orcan Stone Crushers, not Ogrens, but specifically them.
Absolutely not. I had no idea.
I mean, me neither, to be fair. But then again, you are the person that did introduce me to the Lucian Black, so
Yeah, so like
I learned something new from you every day.
yeah, like they're really really obscure. And I think GW has kind of forgotten about the Orcan Stone Crushers too, because I'm not aware of the last time they were referenced. For all I know, like I could be talking on my ass on that one, to be fair. Like they might have recently referenced them, but in my memory, the Orcan Stone Crushers are like hardly ever mentioned.
Well, like
all.
the Iron Hands, then.
Kind of. I mean, not as bad. I mean, the Iron Hands are uniquely bad because they were also a legion that also is like awkwardly underrepresented. But at least with like regiments, they already are like chapters in terms of like their frequency and size.
Mm.
So it's a little more forgivable for the Orc and Stone Crushers to be kind of forgotten. But yeah, like as far as my memory goes, this entirely Ogren based Imperial Guard regiment is just hardly ever referenced. And for what lore they have, if I'm not mistaken, they actually have a fairly decent chunk of lore. From because I think they have to have at least a little for me to even have a basis of memory of them. I would think. So, yeah, like without going to the wiki page, I will say that the
You're not gonna let that go, are you?
no, never.
I was just waiting for the scroll in the background, like, huh, yes.
Yeah, and actually, I challenge the chat to correct me if I'm wrong. This might be another moment where I have a very good memory, but if I'm not mistaken, the only source for the Orc and Stone Crushers was from the Only War RPG booklet or rule book. Don't even ask me what page, but I think that's like where I saw them. They could be other sources. There could be like other like books and stuff, and again I could be totally fucking wrong. So for anyone in the chat, I don't care if you Google it. Just feel free to correct me and be like, I will actually. But as far as my memory goes, that's the only place I think they've been referenced is in the Only War RPG.
Actually, now that I said that, it kind of sounds like imagine like an Ogren nerd. It's the I'm going to hell. I know it.
So what you're saying is they all look like Uros.
Oh, oh,
Shots
that man is not gonna be like. No one outside the community is gonna fucking understand that. But
I know.
Oh, shit.
That's why I love it. Sometimes an in-joke is necessary. Okay. But yeah, that's my Imperium pick. Orc and Stone Crushers. I think a lot of people should look them up. I think there should actually be stuff done with them more often. And I think tabletop wise, it would be cool if we could have possibly get enough of an expansion on Ogren models that we could make an entire Imperial Guard army with just Ogrens. I mean, there's some lists that are almost all Ogrens and tanks and stuff, but I mean, like actual really diverse choices for Ogrens on tabletop would be cool. But that's just spitballing. I don't think anyone's like really craving for that hard. That might just be me. But yeah,
I'd be craving it harder than the League of Votan.
True. So that's my pick. Nathan, your pick for most underrated subfaction for the Imperium/Chaos.
So, I was having a bit of trouble with this one because it was depending on like how to approach the question. Because on one hand, it would be like underutilization, like as in like underrated, but maybe there's not like enough of it. The problem is like if you were to pick like an underrated faction, is it underrated because there's a lot of stuff you could do with them, or there's a lot of stuff that GW has not done with them? Like they could expand upon it further, if you get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from one angle, I would pick. I mean, especially after one of our recent episodes, I would pick the Iron Hands. Because surely you'd think that one of the big founding legions of the Space Marines would have like a metric shit ton of lore in comparison to every other legion. But as we discussed, they're fairly fucking forgettable.
Mm-hmm.
And you did point out last time that there is a difference between the Iron Hands and the Iron Warriors. I mean, I did kind of harp on about the fact that it's still kind of machinery in the same sense, but in that niche where they, instead of like building big sort of demon engines and big machinery and stuff like that, the fact that they self-augment themselves, I reckon GW could, hopefully, if GW decides to fucking get the head out of their asses and they stop focusing on the Ultramarines for once, possibly, they might want to expand on the Iron Hands and their relationship with the Adeptus Mechanicus. because I think that could be a series of stories that'd be like absolutely amazing.
I agree. And as far as like tidbits, as far as I recall, there are actually quite a few occasions where the Mechanicus and the Iron Hands have a lot of close knit, like relationship stuff going on in terms of like how they operate in combat. I know they have way more than average tech marines in terms of their chapter in the modern 40K.
Well, it makes sense, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It absolutely does.
Yeah.
Like culturally, by all accounts, they are Mechanicus marines at this point. And that's kind of sad because it'd be cooler, in my opinion, if there was a little bit more, a little bit of a deviation from that. It's cool for them to have a closer relationship to the Mechanicus than any other Legion / chapter, but I think it should be still distinctly separate, culturally between their chapter and the Mechanicus, while still having a lot of overlay. But
yeah.
And where that could have been found is through the personality and the teachings of Ferrus Manus. But even their own Legion seemingly don't have something like that. They just kind of lean on, again, being essentially Mechanicus Marines at this point. And that's like the most we have for them in the 41st millennium. And it's kind of that's kind of the sad thing that's like the coolest thing you can say for them in the modern setting, as opposed to them having a lot of carryover, but still having a unique doctrine or culture or identity that Ferrus could have given them that he just didn't.
Yeah. Like I was saying, it depends on like how you wanted to broach the question of like underrated, because I think GW are heavily underrating one of the founding legions by the lack of stuff that they do with them. Like the fact that they naturally feel like the closest ally to the Adeptus Mechanicus, and they can entirely capitalize on that with like a slew of stories. Thought they may even do box sets if they wanted to sell like Iron Hands, like dedicated Marines of them, next to like Adeptus Mechanicus combat patrols. Like you maybe go like half and half. Like it'd be definitely good for Iron Hands players, all fucking 3 of them out in the world, that actually still like the Iron Hands. They refuse to die.
That one guy.
By the way, to Jackie, that is not his first name, but to Jackie, who I found out the hard way does watch our podcast. You told me that story. It's your fault I shared it. Just throwing it out there.
Oh shit, did he find out?
Yeah, he found out. In fact,
you know what? Shout out Jackie, you're a real one. If I know that's not your name, but you know who you are. Shout out, you're a real one.
It's not his first name.
Shut up.
Yeah, like fun fact, he texted me 2 days after the episode went out. And I had no idea anyone at the shop even knew I had a YouTube channel.
Were you holding this from us? Like, were you just waiting for like a podcast episode to come up to mention this?
Kind of, yeah. I actually wanted to bring it up to you guys in DMs, but it was like late at night, and I think both of you were in bed, so I was just like, eh. And then I forgot to bring it up the next day. But now that we're like here, I'm thinking about it.
Prime material.
And he texted me and he said, "Okay, I didn't like rip my shirt off and show the tattoo. I'm like, I didn't say you did. I said you pulled your shirt down, which is what you did." So yeah, that was actually very funny. But yeah, I found out the hard way he does watch our show. So love you, and I'm not editing it out. Bye.
Oh god, I could just imagine I can imagine the next time you walked into that game shop, like you just walked up to him like gritted teeth, like, "Hey, Asmo, how are you doing? Done any podcasts lately?"
I don't think.
Yeah. What do you mean?
The thing is, he seems to actually have enjoyed the show because he did like, "Hey, dude, really fun show," but I didn't like tear my shirt off. I just showed you guys. That's all. It was very funny though. I really hope he's the only one from the shop that sees this podcast because I say a lot of shit on here.
Maybe out of like counter revenge, he's kind of told everyone about in the shop.
If so, I'll never hear the end of it from some of them.
Okay, sorry. Anyway, back on topic. If you sort of want to move away from that point.
Yeah.
So that's kind of my pick for the Imperium in that regard. But I think in terms of things that GW has created that is completely fucking obscure, but not obscure enough to like not be like a one-off mention. You know, they've actually got a little bit of substance to them. I'd say the Raptors from the second founding. And obviously, if any of you know about my autism, the only reason I found the Raptors while I was researching this topic is obviously because of the name. So I immediately saw something dinosaur related and like monkey neuron activation kicked. I was like, "Woo, Raptors!" And then I fucking find out that like the emblem is an eagle. I was so disappointed. Because I know like raptor in dinosaur naming convention means thief. I think it's either in Greek or Latin. I think it's Latin. I'm not sure. But the fact that they use an eagle for their emblem pissed me the fuck off. I was like, oh, you could be dinosaurs, but no, you're gonna be gay like that. Yeah, no, I really do like the Raptors because it's a faction that basically they got put on like the brink of extinction like several fucking times. Like, I can imagine it's due to like well, I mean, I'd probably consider them fodder, if you'd agree. The fact that, you know, they're not like one of the big sort of big legions that kind of operate in like very strict and very outlined doctrine, but it kind of like, what Space Marines are in the area? Raptors? Who fucking gives a shit? Send them in. So it's an entire orc warg. They'll slow them down. Which is like, it's kind of how like I view like the second founding chapters. The fact that like they're not exactly important within the Imperium. Like, I mean, they joined the second founding anyway, which a lot of kind of Imperial people like, sure, they can stay around, they're on the same side, but we kind of don't like recognize them.
Yeah.
But yeah, like the Raptors, who have had like you know, I think shit, I can't remember. I think they were in the second or the third war for like Armageddon. When I was reading up on them.
Actually, I think another thing that would cause them to be underrated and under like represented and also under remembered, if that's a term, is unless I'm having a total brain fart, which I could be, the super soldier program that I almost said Ferris Manus, that Corvus Corax was developing were also called Raptors. So oftentimes when people think of Raptors, they either think of two things. They either think of the Chaos Space Marine unit, which is like their melee unit with like the jetpacks.
Jetpack. Yeah.
Yeah, they think of that, or they think of that super soldier that he was trying to develop, that enhanced Space Marine. You know, Primaris before Primaris, and Primaris if they were actually cool and had better establishment and lore. So, like that's why I think most people, when you say Raptors, and also when you say it in relation to the Raven Guard, you're like, oh, that program that he was working on. No, the actual chapter that got to get that name. Eh? I think that's why like that like contributes to why they're so like under referenced and underseen.
Yeah. To be fair, like I knew about the Chaos jetpack dudes, but I kind of forgot that was the name that he described to his like his little super soldier project before that went absolutely tits up.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, and plus I kind of like the Raptors anyway. A bit of bias because the dark green, like they look very militaristic.
Yeah, like they're actually I think
they look cool.
Oh, they do. They absolutely do.
They look baller.
Like some of like the pro painted armies I've seen of Raptors are really cool.
They look like they kind of look like if the Space Marines and the Imperial Guard did like a fusion dance like a la Dragon Ball Z style.
Fusion.
Just came together.
Yeah, like this is like from the Warhammer community page in terms of like how they look. Just in case Nico.
God damn.
Yeah, like this is how good they can look. But Yeah, to the people out there who are listening right now in the podcast who are thinking like, wait, you're telling me there's Raptors that aren't the Super Soldiers or the Chaos Space Marine unit? Shame on you. Yes, there's a whole chapter that are called the Raptors, and effectively, they're G.I. Joe Space Marines. Or for you Command & Conquer fans, GDI Space Marines.
Would you really like them to the GDI?
Aesthetically, how about that? I'm saying it from an aesthetic standpoint, not personality.
Yeah, I was gonna say, cause GDI, like, as much as I do love all, the heroes of like settings, I'd know Chief the GDI kind of cringe.
I know, that's kind of funny, right? Like when we talk about Command & Conquer, everybody are a fan of Nod, which are a cult.
Down with GDI.
Are a fucking cult that brainwashes people and processes and tortures them. Yet for some ungodly reason, like you look at any fan of Command & Conquer in the Tiberian franchise, what's everybody's favorite faction? Nod. It's like you. How?
Oh, that's easy. It's Kane.
Yeah.
Kane is so fucking lovable. I love the dude.
He's
So
a
obviously you gotta root for the
bastard.
bald one.
Like,
He is.
like you totally
So
see
good.
why a cult formed around this man. Like I have no doubts why. I understand.
Yeah. Like the quote that everyone uses from like a Nod comes from like a ship. It's the third sort of series of games in the franchise, like Kane's Wrath, like that sort of thing. But it's the quote from the Nod militia that's like "Down with GDI" that everyone uses.
Oh yeah.
So good. Yeah. Anyway, so actually, I've just read into the Raptors a little bit more, and apparently they were in the Badab War as well.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Oh really?
Remember, I'm not as caught up on the books as you are. In
Oh,
fact, actually,
okay.
funny enough, a friend of mine in real life, we recently exchanged Christmas gifts because we kept forgetting to give each other them all the way in fucking March.
It's not a
Funny
Christmas
enough-
gift no more.
Well, I mean, it was Christmas wrapped. But okay.
Pre-springtime gifts.
Yeah. Funny enough, I opened one of the gifts that they got me, and it's my first ever 40k novel, Krieg. You got me Krieg,
Nice.
Nice.
which I think is an excellent place to start. So, shout out him. Although he doesn't know I've got a YouTube channel, so I hope he never finds it because I'm gonna cringe really hard. Yeah. So, okay. So Iron Hands in terms of GW should use them more, and Raptors in terms of GW, I don't think has done enough with them.
I'd agree.
And they are and because they are still kind of semi-obscure.
I'd agree on
You
both
know,
fronts.
They're not like fucking thingy. What do they call the Yellow Jackets, which is basically the closest thing to Pyrrhus's Space Bees that like ever existed.
Don't tell him that.
Oh.
Do you know about the Yellow Jackets?
Yes, I am familiar with the Yellow Jackets.
Space Bees versus Space Wasps.
That'd be fun
Good
actually
win.
to see.
Yeah.
You just from space you can just hear the buzzing. It's like
Is it the Nids? No, Space Wasps.
forget it then.
I also love the chapter colors as well because they've literally got the black stripes. I forget if it's on the shoulder pads or the knee pads. Like they've got the literal black stripes, and I think like the actual dedication to the color scheme is fucking amazing.
Buzz, motherfucker.
I can imagine like the same way. Do you know the way Krieg walk around? You know, there's the meme where they walk around and the only thing they say like is muffled noises.
Yeah.
Just
can
look at,
imagine,
I'm
like-
looking.
I can imagine like Yellow Jacket Space Marines walking up to each other going buzz buzz, but whenever they do, it's just subtitles at the bottom of perfect English.
So apparently it's on the legs, the stripes.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Even
though-
I was close enough. Fuck it.
Nah.
I mean, that does like leave room for like an old school like 80s like one-liner for when they're about to squash the head of like a Tau. It's like, I hope this stings. Bam.
Oh fuck! Shit! Fuck! Another spilled my drink on my
Shit,
laptop.
fuck. What?
It's an echo.
Oh. Okay, fuck it.
Alright.
Oh, there's the picture.
So-
okay, Nico, boy, your turn.
Yep.
Oh wait, unless you
Yay.
wanted to say something as well.
No, that was what I was gonna say. Nico, you're up.
Okay.
Yay, me. And I actually really prepared for this one, like taking all kinds of notes on this. So, for me, the most underrated chapter, and I did kind of write down a script, but I mean, it's like, I'll try and hit, like the most important stuff. So, for me, the most underrated chapter is the Death Specters. Loyalists and a successor to the Raven God. And they were found during the 13th Dark Founding, so late 35th millennium and early 36th millennium.
Isn't that the cursed founding?
No, I don't think so. That's the 21st founding. That's the cursed founding.
Shit.
Yeah. Yeah, and the Death Specters' whole thing is, well, death. You know, it's sort of part of their aesthetic. It's both like in terms of their beliefs, their theme, like their color scheme is literally black, white, and bone, and their war cry is "Fear not death. We embody it in his name." Response: "We fear not death, for we are death incarnate." And they hail from the homeworld of Occludus, which is a cemetery world, with a fortress monastery called Logopol. And basically, these guys are glowing, blood red-eyed albino chapter that actually, funny thing.
So what you're
Shaw
telling
just
me
cut-
is you can defeat them with an LED light.
in a bit of a sense.
Hang on.
Okay.
Wait, hang on. Hang on. Glowing red eyes.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
Like you mean like they are literally walking around with the fucking lens flare eye meme constantly like Xeno spotted vibe check.
dude, they're living the heretic detected meme. Literally. Though, and while they do have that mutation, I'm just gonna go through this really quickly. Though there are two because of mutations that they're lacking. They're lacking the mucranoid and the Betcher's gland. So no waxy protein to seal your skin and no corrosive spit.
Boo.
And yeah, I know. Oh no. It's like you can't spit at an enemy. Fucking hell, man.
But
Why
they
am I going
can, it
spit?
just won't do anything.
Yes.
Like,
Yeah.
Ew.
Yeah, and the thing is, the earliest stuff that we know, this actually involves the first chapter master, right? What we do know is that Marin Corcados, the very first Maker, which is basically the name of the chapter masters, was swearing his oath to the Emperor at the foot of the Golden Throne, and laying his sword down that would later become the relic force sword known as Archeman. He had a vision that led him and his chapter to the planet of Occludus, where they would build their fortress monastery, Logopol. There, deep below the surface and directly underneath the fortress monastery, lies the Shariax, the Throne of Glass, a psycho-based technology that gives great power in exchange for draining the life and petrifying their chapter master, eventually turning them to stone. In the Maker's absence, the de facto leader of the chapter are the chief librarians, the Messesar. And their whole like I said, their whole aesthetic is death. I'm just gonna put this up right here. Their sigil is literally a skull with two scythes on them. Obviously the color scheme is very, like Grim Reaper-ish, and their assault marines, they're very big into close combat using like assault marines and stuff, and their very own veteran company, the Wargeist, they wield power scythes into battle. It's like, what's not to love? For the recruitment, this is actually the thing I thought was the most interesting about them. Actually, you know what, if you want me to stop, because I'm starting to go into their lore a little bit.
No, keep going.
I'm fully enraptured. Keep going.
I got my
Okay,
popcorn,
okay.
motherfucker.
Yeah.
They,
Okay.
they use power scythes outside of the Death Guard.
I was
immediately
just thinking
fucking
that.
love them.
That was just thinking that. A non-gross, nurgly faction gets to use scythes. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. So,
Make scythes great again, not nasty.
all the scythes. Yeah. Totally nothing to do with the fact that I'm a big fan of Bleach and Darksiders. Why I like this, like these guys. But anyway,
I'm just a fan of the Grim Reaper, you know.
Fuck yeah. Okay, so recruitment. The chapter aspirant recruitment, although this is mostly for the librarians, requires that you have to experience 2 deaths. And basically 3 if you want to attain the rank of Codicil, or basically librarian, right? The first death is at the age of 10, when they first begin like the gene seed, organ implants and all that stuff. During that, the aspirant is injected with a deadly, but toxin that keeps them dead until they self-revive. Unless they can't, which obviously makes it permanent, right? The first death is held in great regard, despite being the shortest, because we're talking literal minutes here. And it's because a strongly held belief within the chapter is that of the Black River, whose currents symbolize fate and time, and this is going to come up again real soon. The aspirants are basically like bear in mind, did I mention that they're 10 years old? Like, they are basically, in a sense, their soul is put, how do I put this, they're put in the Black River, right? And they're assailed not only by the currents but also the forces within, so demons, right? That are, you know, drawn to the
wait,
I'm listening to this and I'm just like, if the Black Templars learned about this would be one hell of a civil war.
Yeah.
I think a civil war. I'm listening to 10-year-olds being part of like inside of a black fucking river that's having their soul tested by demons, and the only thing I'm thinking of crawling in my skin.
Yeah.
This is very
This
is very edgy, you know. This is super edgy.
Yeah.
Like,
And
we're fetching about death, and we're on about the Grim Reaper, and we have 10-year-olds that are tested by demons in our soul.
yeah, I'm starting to unfortunately see why this is underrated and underrepresented, because I'm pretty sure this was written and put together by an actual 13-year-old.
Yeah.
just some goth like introvert that fucking is at the GW offices as an intern. And it's just like, all right, kid, here, write a chapter. Okay, totally. 3 hours later.
He's got one of those.
You just understand.
Like, I could just imagine an intern at GW that had written about the Death Spectres, and they have like the hairstyle of one of those fuckers from like Black Veil Brides, like the gigantic black droopy hair. Like, oh, nobody understands me. My chapter is just like so misunderstood. He's like trying to wave his fringe out of his fucking face.
Yeah. It's kind of
What about death and pain and demons? But we're totally loyal.
like this chapter is super fucking edgy. Like
Yeah.
To a fun degree, but I was kind of hoping for something more badass, less edgy.
Yeah.
You guys
Alright.
may die, but we die several times. One of the
times.
soul, one of the mind, one of the body.
Oh my
I mean,
God.
the Mechanicus, who like actually scratch that. Just everyone ever, including apothecaries of other chapters that handle Gene Seed and try and protect it, are cringing simultaneously across the universe at the fact that these motherfuckers are risking aspirants and good Gene Seed by intentionally killing their aspirants and shoving their souls to be tested against demons.
Yeah, dude, I swear to God, though, that's actually the next point. Like, unsurprisingly, failure is quite common, because asking a 10-year-old to survive this is maybe asking a little too much.
I mean, that's,
you know?
I will say, like, that for me doesn't bother me too much. I mean, as fucked up as that sounds, because this is 40K. All aspirants start at, like, the age to 9 to 10 or 11, and they don't stop the procedures until they're just about 17, 18.
Mm-hmm.
So that's nothing new right there. Like, the whole 10-year-olds being put into impossible odds. I mean, fucking Ultramarines and Salamanders do that shit.
Yeah. But literally killing them, it's just like, and just expecting them to self-revive. It's just like, maybe you're asking a bit too much here. Anyway, so if obviously they succeed, then obviously, you know, continues. The second death is the longest, and it's the most intense, and that takes basically at the very end of the gene seed process, right? Instead of minutes, the neophyte has to endure hours within the Black River, and only then does he become one of the chapter. Just imagine that. It's like, you remember that horrific experience you had as a 10-year-old? Well, you have to live through it again for hours.
I mean, sometimes when I picture death, right? It's like falling to sleep, just like you can't wake up. That's like the nicest way to put death. So I don't know, like for like the passage of time aspect, I don't expect that would be that big of a deal. It depends on like is this like a slow, painful death? Then I could see like the apprehension, but like if you've already been through it once, you're like, all right, okay, let's do it.
All right, let's just do it.
Get it over with.
Yeah.
Wait, hang on.
Go ahead,
I loved
go
it when you said before, like, oh, remember that really traumatic thing that you did when you were 10? Yeah, well, imagine having to do it again. I thought you were saying that in the aspect of like our actual childhoods, like, oh, remember when you were 10, you had to go through that really traumatic thing where you had to go into the Black River. I'm like, I don't know how the fuck they do things in Iceland, but in the UK, they don't fucking do that. I'm very sorry for whatever fucking Nordic Viking ritual you fuckers had to go through, but I just had to stop chewing crayons.
I plead the fifth. My 10-year-old trauma. I plead the fifth.
Wasn't in the Black River, was it?
The Black River, and it's like So, and I'll just I still have a few notes to go through. You want me to just go through with it, or? All right. Death is important to the chapter's nature and traditions, if that wasn't obvious. The central tenet of their belief is that only those who die in battle will be reborn. They deeply honor those who fall in service of the Emperor and hold the many martyrs of the Imperium and their own dead with extreme reverence. When a battle brother dies, and if his body can be retrieved, his body is returned to the fortress monastery, local pole. He's mummified and interred within their catacombs. To the death specters, graveyards and tomb cities are considered places of peace and comfort. I'm not even joking. It's just like, it feels like a goth picnic,
These motherfuckers, before every battle, spend like 6 hours in front of a mirror putting all that white makeup on and the eyeliner. Like that's all I'm picturing. Like I was hoping these guys would be like cool, but honestly, it's getting to a level where it's just like, oh my god.
I mean, this is what I mean.
Can you imagine if there was like inter-chapter, like for lack of a better term, like parent teachers or conferences, or no, like take your kid to work day, but like just one guy from one chapter just visits another, just to hang out for like a year or two. Just to get to know it, and then goes back to their own chapter. And I mean outside of, like, the Death Watch scenario. Like, imagine a Black Templar gets sat in the middle of these guys, and he's just like, he's got his power sword ready to go. He's fucking ready for battle. He's just like, I can't wait to tear apart the green skins. And he looks to his left, and one motherfucker's putting the crow makeup on. Looks to his right, another one's doing, like, a really edgy Heath Ledger. And he's just like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
It's like,
anyway,
my man, you gotta be ready for death.
For death. Actually, there's a little bit. Yeah, I'll just continue. I still have a few things. One of their okay, so this is the thing I thought was weird. Their salute is called the Musrahim. The Salute of Skull and Throne. And I'm not kidding you, this is basically the Kung Fu palm and fist by the abdomen.
Red flag. Red flag. Red flag. Skull and Throne. Who has a throne of skulls? Who? Somebody call the Inquisition. Red flag.
Red. Oh, yeah. Anywho, let me just continue. The great emphasis of the librarians are on reading the tides of fate and time, because they are, in a sense, they are future tellers. physically, right? And appear to
Whoa,
have
whoa,
Yeah.
hang on a fucking minute. So, future tellers?
Yeah,
So,
and I'm
not only Throne of Skulls, but future telling, which is prophecy telling, which isn't that one of the traits of the blue Chaos Boys, the bird fuckers,
The Weaves of Fate.
the Zinchian bastards.
I'm not at liberty to say.
And they're obsessed with
Right.
life and death, which is Nurgle's territory.
Mm.
All
The
we
only
need is
two
some
other
kind of drug addiction or lustfulness, and then we got all four.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, the only thing they need to do now is fuck each other and not wipe their ass, and you've got Chaos Undivided.
Oh yeah. Basically, and appear to have appear to have an unparalleled mastery for changing the future that they foresee.
Oh yeah,
Being
that's
able to-
Zinch. That's
Yeah,
okay.
that's totally
That's
Zinch.
Yeah. Being able to place prophetic notes in time itself through their sheer power, enabling the Death Specters to be in appropriate place in the event certain eventualities come to pass, passing on information and even psychic aid if and when those eventualities actually occur. The goal of the librarians is to sow the seeds of fate, to bring about the Kadash, meaning living chalice, a being of great significance who will sit upon the throne of glass and bring about the great resurrection. And this is totally not inspired by Dune, for real. Yeah. But if there are two things that I don't like about them, it's the fact that they're Codex compliant and
What?
Yes.
After all that shit, fuck you.
I know. That's the thing that's so stupid. That's kind of yes.
None of that. I'm sorry. None of that is Codex compliant.
They sound
They
like
are
the biggest Mary Sue chapter ever. I am 100% convinced an emo would have written them. It's like the darkest origin story ever. They've got original names for the rituals. They use weapons that Chaos use, but theirs is totally original. Don't steal. They're totally pure. And all of a sudden, they've got the powerful ability of like omniscience.
Mm-hmm.
And they can change fate as it happens, which the only cathartic detail about all of this is the fact that they're Codex compliant, which means it will give Rabute Gilliman a solid fucking headache whenever they're brought up. That's the only thing I like about them.
I mean, I was like
fuck the power sides. Gilliman can suffer.
with how this started, I thought they might be actually cool because it's like a Grim Reaper, Scythes, not Nurgle. Okay, yes, and then every single step since then is just this steady decline into this uber edgy fucking drama queen bullshit. It does sound like this ridiculously emo intern fan fiction of a chapter. Are these official?
These are official, yes.
What the fuck? Okay. Like honestly, like they feel like they can be summarized in like two ways. One, hey, you've heard of I can't believe it's not butter, but have you heard of I can't believe it's not chaos?
Oh my fucking god, the absolute edge as well. Like I can imagine every other chapter out there when they visit the Golden Throne and they proclaim their love to the Emperor. You know, they're like, we will serve you, our Emperor, our God Emperor, the leader of humanity through our darkest times and our brightest futures. And then, but the Death Specters are like that YouTube video of that emo in like the fucking mirror goes, "My heart bleeds black blood for you, and it has a lock in which will never be broken," like that type of shit.
Oh my fucking god.
Okay.
Do you all know the video I'm on about? Have you ever seen it?
No.
No.
I'm sending you the art. It's so.
Oh great.
My heart bleeds black blood for you.
I wouldn't exactly say that like that, but I mean, yeah, to be fair, like a piece of why I like them is, and this is gonna sound cringe, I used to be that cringe. I used to be goth, so I mean, it's a little bit
10 pics.
Yeah.
I want to see what Goth Nico looked like.
No.
Send.
I could
No.
I
I want to
just
see your
imagine
nails painted black and with black lipstick on and,
Oh.
like pale.
No.
blush.
I can imagine like a depressed Viking.
Okay, you know what? I'll send you.
He's there with a
you
shield and a
one-
sea axe. Like he's there with a shield and a sea axe, just sighing on a rock. Like
I will send you one
no
image.
raids today.
Actually, you know what?
Nico
Fuck it,
admits
two.
to sitting in a corner listening to My Chemical Romance in fucking
Uh,
Linkin Park.
But I don't want to raid Lindisfarne. I want to stay here
fun.
and listen to My Chemical Romance.
Funny, I never heard of My Chemical Romance until like after I quit being a goth. So
After I quit, like it's a fucking smoking addiction.
yeah. all right. And this is also back when I was like really skinny. So
Oh shit, you actually sent this.
Good God. Oh wait. Oh. Hang on, Nico. What flag is that in the background? And I'm gonna leave that vague for the audience. Nico, what flag's that in the background, King? I've got a few people you might be interested in speaking with.
no.
You can't. You know what? I'm gonna leave this out there. It's the most cruel insult I'm gonna throw at you. You look like
no.
Onision.
No, fuck you! Fuck you! No! Fuck that guy!
Oh,
I'm a banana. I'm a banana.
Ugh. No! Fucking hell.
Oh my god, Aswell, that was so on point for like the left picture. I think I know
I'm
which
sorry.
image you're on about.
Oh god.
Oh no, Onision on 40k.
No!
Lord Pink, fucking get on that.
No! I swear to
Yeah.
you will suffer the next time I come over. I will pee in your Fanta.
Fuck it, what?
Yes, he
Are
drinks
you-
Fanta.
you're probably
The
making
At least
Okay,
you're not
so-
pulling. At least you're not pulling a Christian and doing something else to his Fanta.
What? No, this will be the
Can't.
most cursed podcast.
Khan buddy, that's for you.
Oh no. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Okay, I'll finish because I had one other thing that I kind of don't like about them, but honestly,
Okay.
I do like them. Okay, the way that they seek out, basically, they seek out women from colonies to bring them to a breeding world
Well,
to near the chapter's homeworld.
All right, we found the Slanesh part.
yeah.
And are expected to bear future generations who might prove capable of joining the ranks of the neophytes. So, ladies, if you have a breeding kink, you're spoiled for choice.
Wait a minute, hang on.
So yeah,
didn't-
we
wait,
really do have every chaos god here. like
Yeah.
skulls
Yeah,
and throne.
'cause-
We have the fucking life and death obsession, which is already Nurgle. You have the
Future
breeding
telling,
shit,
Siege.
future telling, which is Siege, and then there's
Yeah.
breeding shit, which is Slanesh. Like they've hit the
That was it.
quadjecta.
that was a joke.
It was.
That was
now
a
it's
fucking
not.
joke.
Now
God
it's not.
damn it.
Again.
Someone really needs to look into that fucking chapter. You're right, Asmo.
Call the Inquisition. We have
Yeah.
a red flag, green flag, blue flag,
is-
and purple flag. Well, pink flag.
As, the thing is, as you mentioned all that, like I honestly I want to see like a novel where they actually turn to chaos because I think that would be really interesting.
Really, the most interesting part about that novel will be which chaos god wins, because they're all gonna be fighting over him. It's like, well, they got the skulls and thrones for me. It's like,
If they-
well, Corn, they really like that breeding shit. That's mine. And Zichi
What-
is in the corner like, but they like to change things.
Oh
What do you mean if they turn to chaos? My brother in Christ, I
They
think
are-
they
they
already
are-
are
they are.
chaos.
They are. They just they are pretty much. They're chaos, but they're just they're in denial.
But they're loyal. Remember, they're loyal.
Jeez.
That's loyal.
Yeah, they're totally loyal. I mean, they're standard codex compliant, quote unquote.
See, this is why codex compliancy is proof, if anything, that codex bullshit that Gilliman came up with doesn't fucking work. If these guys are Codex compliant and they're in every way, shape, or form a telltale sign of the Chaos Gods, the Black Templars are the least fucking compliant to the Codex, and they're the least chaosy. Like, Jesus fucking Christ. I can even imagine a scenario where like the Inquisition bringing along these motherfuckers to help them fight the Templars because they're like, you're not complying with the Codex Astartes. Black Templars, you are to be submitted for punishment. Fuck you. Wait, who did you bring? Oh, well, these fine Astartes will help us subdue you. Them. Yes. Okay. I want you to look at them for 5 seconds. Listen to them talk for another 2. And look back at me and call me a heretic. Oh my god. Very good choice though, Nico. Very good choice.
Yeah.
Thank you.
For if nothing else, because of how funny they are.
I mean, that you know what? I am really glad that I wrote down that script. I really am.
Me and Asmo's choices for the Imperium just got blown out the water then for that segment. Good lord, what a fucking pick.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I was just serious sense like I cannot even take the Death Spectre seriously anymore. I learn about them 1 minute from you, and then the next minute I'm like, there's no way they're real.
I'll have to give you this, Nico. I didn't know about the Death Spectre, so this was new to me.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I mean, I learned about them through like a YouTube short, and was like, oh, they look cool. They look like they are, like a Grim Reaper type Space Marines. And the more you learn about them, it's like, wait, what?
Who did the YouTube short, Nico?
I don't know who it was. It was
better not be who I think it is.
Anonymous Astartes?
Better not.
No. It's not a certain narcissist.
Oh, well, there's 2 I'm thinking of, mister.
I hope it was Anonymous Astartes, because I've seen a lot of his shorts lately, and they're pretty good.
Might check him out.
I
don't know.
His are like straight lore, like just no fanciness, no like zoom or humor or editing. It's just like, hey, quick, like here's this, bye. Pretty good shit.
Yeah.
All right, so we've all given an Imperium / Chaosy choice. Now on to a Xenos pick. I have mine. I think you guys actually will probably have heard of this one. If nothing else, at the very least, I'm pretty confident Nathan will have heard of them. But I still think, like, for what they are and who they are, I think they deserve more than we got for them right now. That would be Hive Fleet Gorgon for the Tyranids. For those
motherfucker.
For those who don't know the Hive Fleet Gorgon, because everyone knows Behemoth, right? Everybody knows Leviathan. Everyone knows those ones. But Hive Fleet Gorgon is, technically speaking, a lesser Hive Fleet of the Tyranids that has entered the galaxy. Hive Fleet Gorgon is most noted for harassing the hell out of the Tau and attacking them. And in terms of unique traits of their Hive Fleet, they're kind of closer to Zerg from StarCraft in terms of their evolutionary speed. Because all Tyranids across the whole species, a note of them is like taking the genetics, after all, they have a whole unit called Gene Stealers, taking the genetics of other races and biomass and integrating it into their hives and adapting themselves using that, allowing them to become stronger, faster, more effective, and more deadly to the things that they're fighting. It's one of the unique things about them that's really, really cool. And from StarCraft, the Zerg took that directly and just amplified it to a ridiculous like evolutionary ability. Hive Fleet Gorgon is 40K's essential response to that, with taking the speed of evolution that the Zerg from StarCraft kind of took from the Tyranids to begin with, and mimicking it back into 40K. So Hive Fleet Gorgon biologically are at a whole new level for the Tyranids in terms of their genetic effectivity and the rapid rate of adaptations that they can perform. So as you fight them, like a normal Hive Fleet you'd go up against, you could reliably deal with their genetic structure and their genetic format that they're fighting you with for a significant period of time before they started to adapt, before they started taking your troops' genetics and adapting to them to fight you back and be more effective against you. But whenever you're fighting High Fleet Gorgon, it's almost like you watch as you're shooting at them as they get faster. You watch as they're like, let's say you're on an aquatic planet and they took some genetics from like local wildlife and immediately start seeing webbed feet as opposed to their hooved feet you oftentimes see in like termagants or hormagants. Like immediately you start, like you watch in real time as they start to shift to their environment. Additionally, it's not just in their like raw troop adaptation, it's also in their genetic refinement. If this is from memory, so keep in mind I might be wrong. So for the autists watching, fellow autists I should really say, if I'm wrong about this, feel free to correct me. But from like the most recent stuff outside of the Tau storylines, I know that with their genetic refinement, they've started infecting like agri-worlds in the Imperium. And when I say infecting, I don't mean with gene stealer cults like the standard move. I mean like they have like a spore and like actual microscopic life of Tyranids that are sentient, that are infecting foodstuffs as well as other materials used and consumed by the average Imperial guardsman, as well as civilians. Yeah, like very very similar to the plagued grain from Warcraft, and like the scourge. Like it's very very similar. I'm pretty sure this was written before. Well, that might be brave of me. This particular thing might be 8th edition, so it's probably significantly after that. So it might be GW spoofing off of Warcraft, but regardless. Like, that's, like, the most, like, recent, like, fucked up thing High Fleet Gorgon is doing, is that they're starting to infect on a microscopic level agri-worlds, foodstuffs, and supplies, and it's starting to spread. So, potentially, a bunch of gene stealer cults could start popping up from Gorgon all across the galaxy in random places, not just worlds that are specifically being targeted, but just en masse. From infected foodstuffs, as well as potentially stims and other consumable items.
So they're playing the long game.
Yep.
That's sinister. I like that.
So it's all that is why I think High Fleet Gorgon gets not enough love and not enough like recognition compared to like the big high fleets. Like again, like Leviathan or Behemoth were like the two biggest.
Well, I mean, to be fair, it sounds like GW. Well, like I said before, they're playing the long game, so all of a sudden they could just immediately crash, that high fleet into the forefront of all the lore and all the books that they're going to release and all like the box sets of the Tyranids, because they're then just going to suddenly bring them up like, they've been doing this all this time. Now they're finally appearing.
Mm-hmm.
Which I hope they do, because it's cool.
Do it.
Yep. That was my pick, Vizinos. Nathan, what was yours?
Very good pick. Right, so when I did that massive roar before, when I heard about the High Fleet one, I'm very happy that you picked the High Fleet, because there's a fucking ton of them that I had to pick between. But I also kind of shit one because I thought you were going to pick mine.
Oh. Did I?
But mine's High Fleet Kronos.
Ah, okay. Good pick.
That's what I mean. I was kind of scared. So basically, Kronos is, I've talked about them before in terms of like my favorite sort of Nid faction, or like my favorite Xeno faction being the Nids, but this is like my particular favorite sub faction, because the one of, if not, I think the only dedicated Tyranid force that actually deals with chaos and can scare the shit out of chaos. Because all the others, they're like biomass, and to them, chaos is kind of like anathema, because they don't resemble any sort of. If they do have any biomass within real space, it's little to nothing. Even if they do. So for the Nids to fight chaos, it's kind of a losing battle, which is why they don't really engage with them unless they have to. Like, unless they are physically threatened with being wiped out, they will not engage them because it's just a lose-lose. Well, not a lose-lose, but a lose-win, if you get me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Kronos is that tiny, tiny 1 in a million bad luck chance for Chaos, that secret middle finger in the warp, that if they see the Tyranids and they're like, oh, let's go bully the shit out of some bugs a la Helldivers style, and then they see that the Tyranids are sudden black and red, and they're like, hang on a minute, isn't this what I think it is? Kronos like, yep, it's your boy, the Chaos fuckers. And I don't mean Chaos fuckers as in like Corner Slanesh, like the Chaos fuckers. I mean Chaos, fuckers. Like they will. Oh my, because like I said, they're the only sub-faction to fight Chaos and be really, really good at it. And not only that, they specialize in close quarter combat as well. So even if Khorne wants to bring out his mightiest sort of bloodletters or bloodthirsters, Kronos has got an answer for it. And not to mention, all the ranged options that the Nids have as well. Sorry, what, Asmo?
I was just gonna say, like, when you were describing how it's like Chaos is like, oh, let's go kill some bugs, and it's like, oh no. It kind of reminded me of that. Do you know wrestling?
Old wrestling, like Triple H and Rey Mysterio era wrestling.
Okay. So do you? Okay, actually, I think it's a GIF. Hold on, let me look it up. I think we've all seen this GIF, but it's kind of like this. It's like
yeah.
So it's the GIF of the Undertaker behind the guy who's just like like Chaos is like, oh, bugs, right? And it's just Kronos. You fucked up.
It's the person in front, like Chaos having no biomass, hyphily Kronos in the background. like pucker out Buttercup, it don't matter to me.
Cracks knuckles. Oh God,
yeah,
that was my the picture I got when you said that.
Not apt. It's very apt. Yeah. So, hyphily Kronos, as much. So as far as Tyranids, the stuff that we know about. Obviously, we don't know the origin story of the Tyranids. We do know the origin about how they came into the 40k universe, but we don't know anything outside of that.
We have speculation.
Yeah, so in comparison to other Tyranid high fleet and splinter fleet, there's not a whole lot known about that. I mean, they have been in some notable battles. Like, I mean, okay, I did have to cheat for this bit because I, like I said, don't know the books, at least a lot of them. But apparently they were in the Battle of the Wolf's Head, Second Battle of Shadowbrink, Spoiled Feast, and Cutting the Signal. But apart from that, I don't think they mention anywhere else. And you'd think the Tyranid faction, one of the only ones that are real, that in fact, if not the only one that's really good at kicking the shit out of Chaos, they might want to do a little bit more with that. Imagine Chaos laughing at the Imperium haha, you're made of biomass, the Tyranids are gonna eat you, and then that gif that you mentioned before as well, Kronos standing behind them. Oh, don't forget about me, boy. It's licks hey, close that Vox broadcast and kiss me on my hot mouth. I'm feeling romantical.
You're not exempt.
You know how I don't know if they know about this, but so the Octarius, I'm just gonna make a point of this, right? So you know how Octarius War began with basically what was it, Cryptmen, basically luring Tyranids and orcs to fight together, the whole thing kill two birds with one stone. I feel like you could send Kronos to clear up. Imagine luring Kronos because of the Great Rift, right? The Great Rift across the galaxy. Imagine trying to use them as a vacuum cleaner for Chaos. It's just yeah. It's from the very tip end, and then you just get them all the way to the Eye of Terror.
Fuck it. Oh my god, that'd be so cool.
That'd be genius.
Yeah, like the Imperium would intentionally feed Cronus to make it bigger, and they're like, "Hey, so do you know the Eye of the Warp? Yeah, go that way. You're gonna find a shit ton of food." And they're like, "Oh, really?" Like the Eye of Terror will just be like, fuck, it'll be like an all-you-can-eat Chinese buffet.
I feel like this could be like a Flash Gets like style like parody animation. It's just like, you're full, yes? Oh no, I'm rather quite still hungry. It's like, oh, well, there's them over there. And then like like Abaddon sticks his head out of the Eye of Terror and goes, dude, the fuck. uh.
Oh, I can just imagine like High Fleet Kronos to the Eye of Terror is what queso is to food. Just like looks at them and like lustful eyes and licking his lips like, come here, boy.
Dude, okay, bit of a jokey one, but could you imagine like Kronos created like a whole hive around the Eye of Chaos? They'd be like bees. It's like with infinite
sauce.
Food.
I mean,
it'd be like a Dyson sphere, but with Tyranids.
Do I make an eating out joke?
So yeah, High Fleet.
I mean, when you think about it, wouldn't that scenario just be essentially because the Eye of Terror was burst forth into existence because Slanesh was born, right? Mm-hmm. So if you want to think of it, the Eye of Terror is like a big anus or a vagina in the galactic void between the immaterium and materium. Now, if a giant fuck off mouth of like a Tyranid Hive Fleet just clamped over that shit, would that effectively not be the Tyranids eating out chaos?
I'm literally lost in thought here. Maybe. I don't know. I feel like I could I feel like I could flip a coin on this and just like be a more accurate answer. Nice suits did the.
I just got brownie points with Slanesh. So it's like,
brain.
ooh, I like this idea now. Anyway.
Yeah. So anything. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. So that's a High Fleet Kronos for me.
A very good pick, I'd say. I would argue personally, because when I think of like the popular ones of like the High Fleets, I would put Kronos up there. Now, is it as popular as Leviathan, Behemoth, or fucking Kraken? Probably not. I think
no,
those.
Christ, no.
Those
it's nowhere near.
Yeah, those three are like the big ones. Like in Imperial, in like Space Marine terms, like those three are like the equivalent of Imperial Fists, Ultramarines, and like Salamanders or Blood Angels. Like they're like the top dogs that everyone wants to play. But Kronos, I'd say, is like kind of similar level of popularity from like still using the same like through comparison. I'd say the Kronos is kind of like the Lamenters for 40k. Like Lamenters as a chapter are technically obscure, but they're popular enough that like the community regularly like reference them, and like in terms of like not the top dogs, they're still fairly popularly mentioned. I'd say like for the Tyranid Hive Fleets, Kronos is like kind of like that status. Not the top dogs, but referenced enough that I think most people, when you say Hive Fleet Kronos, most people know what you're talking about. Maybe not in detail or in depth, but they know the name.
Well, to be fair, I don't think a lot of people do know about Hive Fleet Kronos, but I mean, you kind of figure the Tyranids because the name starts with the fucking words Hive Fleet. They're not going to be Imperial Guard, are they?
I mean, that would be an awkward regiment name.
Yeah.
It's like a Hive Fleet has arrived. Oh fuck, Tyranids, we're fucked. No. Regiment Hive Fleet. What?
Oh my god, imagine that Hive Fleet Ultramar.
Oh no.
It'd be funny if they came down and like instead of like Imperial Guard armor, they just wore like Tyranid bits.
Yeah.
Like one of them comes down and he's wearing like he has a Tyranid warrior's like exoskeleton head as a helmet. It's like, all right, we're getting ready to go. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
It's also like the worst sort of ironic name out there. You know, imagine you're the only member, or like you're the only faction or the sub-faction within the Imperium, and you call yourself High Fleet Ultramar, especially after like what happened initially with the Tyranids and how they decimated Ultramar.
Yeah, that'd be a bit awkward.
I can imagine, like, I can imagine you were reading that bit in the lore, Asmo, with like a bottle of lotion next to your chair. It's like, get fucked.
I was excited, you know. I was like, all right, Calgar had his limbs ripped off. We're doing pretty good so far. But then they had to pull a holdo maneuver and fucking win, which was disappointing. I was like,
aw.
Damn it. So close to them actually losing for once.
I just kind of imagine it's just like in Hellsing Ultimate Abridged. It's like, oh, well, my boner's gone.
Exactly.
What do you mean they didn't get wiped out? Fuck.
So, the thing is, like, you don't even need to wipe out the Ultramarines. Just have them lose. Like, actually lose. Not like a Pyrrhic victory, which is what this was, but like a loss. Like, can they lose for 1 goddamn second, please? But no, they're like, oh, well, we gotta deal with the Hive Fleet. All right, how do we do it? Well, we could take one of our ships, right? Yeah, we're just gonna go, like, warp speed. Just gonna power through it. Genius! And it fucking worked. It pissed me off. Like, no!
No, why?
That should not have worked. You tell me all the worlds that the Tyranids nearly fucked over, and any of them could have just taken a very large Imperial Navy ship and just went go right through it. Granted, the ship that they used to do that on Ultramar was pretty substantial and of a very, very rare type. So they destroyed a ultra rare ship, which cannot be replicated in the modern Imperium. And there's like maybe a handful of them. But still, it was still a Pyrrhic victory. I want them to lose for once. Like, Calgar lived after this event. Like, he lost his limbs. That was the consequence. He didn't die, and he came right back. He's still fighting now. The fuck? Like, at least give me that. Kill Calgar, please. Give me some kind of actual, like, loss for the blueberries.
They already killed him in the comic, remember? They made him a fucking bitch.
Not spiritually kill him, like, actually kill him.
Is that comic even canon, by the way? Like,
I believe so. I believe part of, like, the deal with Marvel is that, like, what the comics that they made are canon.
As much as I don't like the Ultramarines, like, at least Calgar is like quite a long-standing legacy character, so I can kind of respect him. And then they did that.
Yeah, he like fucking instant transmissioned on the shoulder of a Lord of Skulls and ripped its head off. Yeah, that is such bullshit.
But it looks so cool, though.
No.
Well, that was me and Nico. Sorry, me and Nathan's. Nico, what is your Xenos pick?
So, in keeping with the Tyranids, no.
Damn it.
Yeah, I know. I mean, I technically do have one. That would be High Fleet Hydra, but I have a different answer for what I feel is the most underrated Xenos. So, do you guys know about the Harlequins? Obviously.
Yep.
Yes. Now, some of you may know that they have masks, basically, you know, their own little formation, let's say,
and a shit ton of checkerboard patterns.
Yes, the one that I find the most interesting is the mask of the Reaper's Mirths, and I did a little bit of digging on them. So You know how the Harlequins are all masters of like ironic murder because they're freaking clowns? Well, they take that to an absolute like extreme degree. It's like every battle is gory canvas or something like that to paint a masterpiece of death. And they not only it's not simply that they kill their enemies, they have to be made example of. Like a very exaggerated, like a very extravagant way. So, and also because of their because of their inventive cruelty, they tend to get a higher proportion of death jesters. And I don't know if you guys know what a death jester looks like. Let me just pick.
No, I do not. Please.
Hang on. They look badass, by the way. They kind of look like a mix between. You know what? Fuck it. I'm just gonna look for it. They are right here, and they look badass. And here they are. Yeah, they kind of look like.
Yeah, I do know.
Oh shit! Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen that image.
Yeah. Yeah, they tend to have a lot of death jesters, and these warriors take on a sardonic pleasure in fighting alongside the players of the Reaper's Mirth as they enact their performance of genocide and horrific destruction. I mean, in keeping with the whole, death, motif. I mean, from the last chapter that I mentioned. I mean, yeah, I think they're a little bit underrated. They don't really have lore. They have just like a little bit of a mention.
I mean, I would have accepted you just like running with Harlequins. If you'd said like, the Harlequins are a very underrated faction, I think it's very fair just to say that. But yeah, like this more specificity, the Reaper's Mirth, you said.
Yeah,
I haven't even heard of them. This is all new to me.
Yeah,
I do recognize that unit and that like artwork, but specifically like this group mask of the Reaper's Mirth. Yeah, like Harlequins, I would say as a whole, really are underrated. Like they're really unique, and like when we look at like 40K in general, right? Like a lot of things are very clearly directly taken from the fantasy tropes and directly from their own fantasy Warhammer. Like the Drukhari are just the Druki or the Dark Elves from Warhammer Fantasy. The Craftworld Eldar or Eldari, they're directly taken from the High Elves, and like there's direct like crossover there. Now this could just be my lack of Warhammer Fantasy knowledge, but as far as I know, like the Harlequins out of all that are the only like truly 40K unique elf faction. Like as far as I know, Warhammer Fantasy doesn't have a Harlequin equivalent.
Not that I know of. Then again, I'm not really as knowledgeable about Warhammer Fantasy as I am with 40K. I mean, I certainly feel like I should get more into it, especially since the old world is coming back. But they're also kind of like I don't know. Like I know that the relaunch is been a bit of a hit or miss.
More of a miss.
So anyway, yeah, more of a miss. But yeah, so with the Reaper's Mirth, one piece of lore that I do know for certain is that the rune that they have. The rune worn by the Reaper's Mirth is an ancient symbol that represents both the first blooding of a weapon and the last breath of an enemy. So that yeah. And yeah, that's pretty much it. They don't even have a spot in their own wiki pages and stuff like that. So yeah, definitely I would love to read more lore about these guys. Or just Harlequins in general, honestly.
Yeah, the Harlequins deserve a lot more attention. I mean, the Drukhari, I kind of said this before in a previous episode, but they're kind of boring lore-wise. Like aesthetically, they're interesting, but
oh yeah,
kind of boring otherwise. Like at the end of the day, they're just dark elves, but sci-fi.
Yeah, character-wise, like it's kind of hard to get into the Drukhari because, I mean. They actively seek out suffering, both for their own benefit, but also for their own pleasure. So, I mean, it's fun. It can be fun in that regard, for like liking them, like you would say like the Space Marines and the Imperial Guard, like particular, like you can definitely talk about how you love Sigismund, you love his lore, and all that kind of stuff. All him, Rogaldon, and all that stuff. With the Drukhari, you can maybe talk about how what some of them did to gain power or infamy or something like that, but coming to care about them.
Yeah. And to be fair, that's partially on the fault of Black Library and GW as a whole. Because in terms of other factions outside the Imperium that we could get stories that are comprehensible for humans to follow, it would be the Eldar. And that's from the Drukhari and from the Eldar perspective. They'd still be very alien. You'd still have to approach it awkwardly. And it would be hard to relate for the most part, if you're being lore accurate. But they're the closest we get in terms of other non-human factions in terms of understanding, like their thought processes and stuff.
Yeah.
So it is kind of disappointing that there aren't a lot of... Well, I say this as not a fan of them myself, so for hardcore Drukhari and Eldar fans, I apologize if for you guys there is already a shit ton of stuff to latch onto there, but for me personally, it just feels like GW hasn't given them enough love and enough like energy to them that would attract someone like me or I would argue the majority of the fan base to really like lean towards as much.
Maybe they just translate it a different way. When the fans say, we want more stories from the Eldar, Drukhari, and Harlequins, they translate that into saying, hey, more Ultramarines. I mean, I'm not wrong here, am I?
No. Games Workshop are Black Library specifically are so Space Marine focused. And to be fair, like I'll give credit to GW where it's due. They were honest about this years ago. Like 20 plus years ago, they said point blank, we're not a games company, we're a models company. And they made it quite clear that all of what they make is around selling the models. They are not, like, I think in recent years they've started to put on a facade of like caring about the setting and caring about 40K and that and the community and all that. But let's be honest, what they said back then is no less true now. They want to sell you models. They want to make money. That is what that is what they are about at the end of the day.
In a certain way I can respect that, but not to the point where, well, like they said, like, again, they're purely a models-based company, but if they do not care about the lore they're telling, I mean, that's going to reflect back on the hobby, because eventually...
Well, it does. Like, that there's a reason why idiots like Templin Institute could even dare approach saying that there is no canon in 40K. We know there is. We understand that is, but you can't pretend that there aren't other people who've also said the same thing. And though their argument's completely flawed and bullshit, you can't blame someone for being like, well, like kind of questioning if there is or is not. Because on a very thin line, so many things contradict other things in the lore, in all of its canon, so that makes it incredibly hard to give someone a point A, point B, point C of everything. Like, we know that the lore is a soft lore. There is a soft canon. Doesn't mean there isn't a canon, there is. The soft canon, that essentially just means the broad stuff we know to be true. Like, the Horus Heresy did happen. The Emperor and Horus did duel. Like, like those details are never questioned and are not contradicted in any book or any lore segment. But the stuff that is contradicted and the stuff that is, unfortunately, shifting and constantly getting changed book to book and author to author are the finer details of these things. Like the lore that we've accepted for decades just recently got changed in the End and the Death Volume 3. Like, that is a contradiction to specific lore in the past that we've had. It's stuff like that is malleable and that is inconsistent and that does self-contradict itself. However, a lot of people are missing the trees for the forest there and thinking that means there's no canon. There is 100% canon. Again, it's just the broad strokes. It's the specific details that are vague or malleable or that just don't add up. But the reason like I'm bringing this up in this conversation, I had a brain fart. Shit.
Well, it's all right. I mean, it's just actually kind of funny that you mentioned the Template Institute. It is so funny to me that a lore channel would specifically say it's like, oh, there's no canon. There is no canon. It's like, isn't that the whole point of your channel?
Yeah. It's why I still give a little bit of shit to Luton for it, because Luton said that in his videos as well. He said that he would make the argument that there is no canon in 40k. For me, I stopped watching his channel the moment he said that, because for me, it's like, okay, you told me your channel's worthless. like you said there is no canon, therefore what am I watching? Like, what are your videos outlining if not a canon, if not a story? Like, you are giving me a point A, point B, point C.
It's just made his entire channel like pointless. It's like, all right, I'm not gonna listen to you anymore.
So for me, like that lost like instantaneous respect for me, because again, it's like this weird, I would say almost intentional intellectual dishonesty to completely like to me. It's someone who's not missing the trees for the forest as in like by happenstance. They're choosing not to see the forest and only are focusing on the specific tree branches.
Yeah,
like you're choosing to focus on these tiny details and therefore make an extraneous claim on a broad scale that isn't true under basic scrutiny.
I feel like a portion of this is, and you see this a lot with like analysis YouTube videos, is a lot of the time they say, you know, oh, it's just my opinion and stuff like that. The whole point of that is to be like the safety net in case someone actually gets angry, like in the comments, and want to, you know, correct them and stuff like that. It's like, oh, it's just my opinion, right? And I feel like that sort of evolves, like in lore channel sense. I feel like that is sort of evolved into what's like, well, there is no canon. There is no canon. It's like, so don't worry about it. It's like, you don't have to correct me in the comments. It's like, no, I'm sorry, but there is a canon. You did get stuff wrong, and the writers even get stuff wrong. And we have to point that out, because the thing is, like, we want the lore to be as consistent as possible, because the finer details of the lore is what, you know, brings people in. That is what keeps them interested in the long run. Because yes, the broad strokes of the lore, you know, they could be interesting in and of themselves, but usually the finer details, that is like, well, like you said, with the whole retconning in The Death and the End, or I forget the title, fuck it, I hate that book. It's like the whole reason I'm angry about it is because they're contradicting, it's like very specific lore that has been there for decades, literal decades, and they wanted to have a new direction, and they pussyfoot around and say, no, actually, this is just an interpretation. This is totally just, you know, this is just like metaphorical in what Horus sees. You know, so he's being stabbed metaphorically, maybe. I don't know. It's whatever your interpretation is. It's just like, you pussyfoot motherfucker. If you're gonna change the lore, it's like, have the fucking balls to do it.
Yeah, stick behind what you have to write, or don't write it. Like, if you can't stand behind it, why the fuck should we?
Exactly. And also, it's like, why even change that piece of lore? Why even change the whole fact that he doesn't, like, the Guardsman, the most famous moment for a lot of Imperial Guard fans, including myself, is the one where he stands before Horus, like, ahead of the Emperor to protect him, right? He knows for a damn fact that he has no chance. He has absolutely no chance in surviving, and yet he still, through sheer belief, stands like before Horus to tell him, no, you don't get to kill the Emperor. And even though he, like, the moment he died, then the Emperor like ripped his soul asunder so that he could never come back. You know, the whole idea. And then they just start to, you know, It's like then that doesn't even happen. So for a fan like me, I'm just wondering. It's like who was this meant to please? No one. No one was meant to be pleased. Sorry, I'm getting a little bit angry.
No, get angry, please. I feel like I've just come back to a Luton rant.
It was initially like I was as the conversation flowed, I was shitting I brought up the fact that Luton claimed that there was no canon because a lot of people give a shit ton of shit to Templin Institute, which they should, but nobody seems to want to bring that up. That Luton said the exact same shit years ago.
Yeah. Sorry about that. I have to step out for a minute, but I'm all here for it. Yeah, sorry I was away, but you know, I can imagine the audience have heard you ramble, but I'm kind of sad that I missed out on it. But please continue. I wanna. If you want to get angry the same way that I did about 40k and COD, please go off, King.
Dude, dude, I love that. The thing is, I full on. Lord of Pink did not make that originally. Like as his idea. I had to feed him that idea, and then he was like, "Oh, I have to draw that." So you're welcome.
He's done several, hasn't he?
Yeah, he does several. He like, cause you know, sometimes he works some days, and sometimes he's just free. So when he gets a chance to draw, it's like give him anything to work with, and he'll work on that.
Cause there was one of me like doing the shoop de whoop on like 100% normies, and then there was him just being like me just covered in absolute fire, going fuck Call of Duty, fuck crossovers, leave 40k alone. He's like, my bad.
Yeah, yeah. He loves his silly comic stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but like, I was gonna say, if I were to comment on the topic, the idea of there is no canon law in a franchise is fucking ridiculous. Because without canon, without law, that's what separates different science fiction franchises from each other. Because let's say you've got like two franchises, like one you can have, like yada yada yada, and you'd immediately think, oh, that's that's StarCraft, that's the Marines from StarCraft. But if you then go to 40k, you're like, oh, there's an emperor, there's different legions and chapters. You're like, oh, that's the same sort of science fiction Marines stereotype, but then that's 40k. But if there's no law and there's no canon, nothing's kind of sacred, and all of it just kind of blends together. If you can basically do whatever you want with the law, you have to have some things, or at least most things, like set in stone. Otherwise, none of it just becomes worthwhile.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. And I said earlier that a lot of the people making the claim that there is no canon in 40k or otherwise in other settings anyway, they're more often than not they're people who are missing the trees for the forest. But I would argue to make that claim as confidently as someone like Templin Institute did, who you guys probably missed out on the Twitter side of things. But on Twitter, he was outright like fucking starting fights over it. Like he was confident and acting like he was some kind of Chad about it. He's like, all these people, Templin Institute, like.
Yeah, I saw, that
guy was a bitch.
I don't know who it was, but I did see someone cover the Twitter side of things. Obviously, I'm not on Twitter, but I saw somebody he
on Twitter
going full spastic.
Oh, he was a keyboard warrior.
I think it was in the Legion Discord when they were all reporting about it, and I was like, oh, so he's that type of fucker, is he?
Yeah, like he was talking a big game on Twitter. He was talking about he was gonna drop a video that was gonna like disprove all the people who disagreed with him. He was like, I know this better than you do. He was like acting like he was like king of the hill. Then he makes the video comes out, and the bitch back the fuck off. All that energy, all that like shit, acting like he's the king of the house, right? And all of a sudden he's like, oh, but if you disagree with me, that's perfectly fine. Where was all that fucking shit you had on Twitter, huh? You bitch. But to be quite frank, I look back and to me, all that went down, he did for views. Like all of that he did to strike up people checking out the video. Like that's why Temple and Institute pulled that shit.
Gee, I wonder why.
I know. I kind of hope his channel's dying, but I think it bounced back after that.
I mean, they recently did Helldivers, I think.
Yeah,
Which,
I had no interest in watching it. If,
Exactly.
any video they make.
If I hate saying this because like I'm only a channel with like 200 fucking subs, but if you do anything purely for views, like trying to like gain sort of scrape at the algorithm, just trying to get the attention of like ADHD and anger riddled fucking people, it's just shameful.
For me, like there's a middle ground. Like
there's a middle ground. Like you want to appeal to an audience, but at the same time, you don't want to stir up drama and controversy for the pure fucking sake of getting views. Like that is just.
I think that's scummy.
You're a shell. You're a shell.
Yeah.
You're a slave to the algorithm. Like,
at
what
you're
point are you having fun?
Yeah, if you're like that, then yeah, you're at the end of the day, you're pretty much you're a bitch. You're a bitch, and you're a slut to the system. You're a slut to drama and attention. You're a whore, right?
You're
effectively. Like what's the difference?
Heretic.
Well, yeah, same thing. Whore, heretic, same thing. Like that's all you become. But if you make content and obviously like editing and like the energy you put behind content and the time it takes to put it all together, you want to do all of that and see it actually be seen, right? Like you don't take hours and hours out of your life to edit something, make it look good, make it fun, make it entertaining, and then 5 people watch it. Like that's a sunken, hollow feeling that sucks so goddamn bad. Like because it literally comes off as feeling like I just wasted like hours of my life that could have been going to so many other things. So I understand why some people like, I get disappointed when some things that I really care about aren't getting a lot of views on YouTube because, I do want people to watch it. Like you don't put all that time and effort into something and then watch it not appeal to anybody and not get picked up. Like it kills your motivation. That often is like my problem with it. And I can respect someone for like having a view, like a focus or attention in that regard. It's like you just don't want to waste your time. So I think that's a fair placement. But when you're going to the lengths of stirring up drama, starting fights, doing all this, like doing that same shit that they do in like boxing or pro wrestling and shit, where like they do that press show where like both fighters get in each other's faces and they stir up like this big competition, and we all understand why they do that, right? Like we all understand why they do that. It's because people love drama. They love the fight. They love the fantasy of 2 people who hate each other going in and kicking each other's asses, because everyone knows if 2 people hate each other, they're gonna go all the more out, right? That's why they do that shit.
Sometimes it's actually like genuine hatred. Like I remember the fight between like the Mountain and Eddie Hall. Like they genuinely hated each other, and it was fucking awesome to see them just duke it the hell out. But yeah, didn't wanna. Yeah.
So, but the point is kind of circling back. The people who say that they're, who push that shit, like there is no canon in 40K, they're either incredibly stupid and they're not seeing the trees from the forest or the forest for the trees, or there's someone intentionally not seeing the forest for the trees. Someone who's choosing to nitpick and cherry pick to support a preordained or pre-decided conclusion. Even though there's so much that proves what that thought process, that belief that there is no canon in 40K is objectively wrong. 40K has a soft canon, that's fair, but it's still a canon. What that means is, and I've said it in the past, 40K's soft canon is the broad events are canonical. They're non-negotiable. They did happen. There's nothing about interpretation bullshit. The Horus Heresy did happen. Horus did duel the Emperor. The Chaos Gods did corrupt Horus and did corrupt several of the other Primarchs. Major events did happen, and there's no contradiction in the lore. It's specific events, specific moments, specific interpretations that are malleable, that are up to question. But that's not the same thing as there's no canon. Like those minor details or those specific details being malleable doesn't therefore magically make those big broad events not happen. They did. Nothing contradicts the existence of the Horus Heresy. Nothing contradicts the Indominus Crusade. Nothing contradicts, etc., etc., etc. The big stuff is not contradicted. It's just a specific moment-to-moment things that are up to interpretation or are debatable. That's like to take that and then therefore claim that the big stuff didn't happen is just ridiculous.
Yeah, because like I can imagine it. Like I can imagine like, the in-universe explanation of like it takes ages for knowledge to get anywhere, and then by that time you've already got conflicting accounts. I can kind of understand that reasoning, but that's the type of reasoning that would cover, oh, I don't know, the sergeant of like in the Blood Angels managed to execute the Orc War boss with a bolt pistol, but to some agri worlds that got reports of the war, they were like, oh no, he executed him with a stalker bolter. I'm like, he executed him either way. Like the finer details don't really matter, but you can't just like wipe out entire segments of lore. Like, oh, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. Like I'm pretty sure the entire universe would fucking hate if Horus got uppity and started virus bombing planets.
Mm-hmm. Yep. For me, it's like I would go so far as to say it's a sign of someone not being a real fan to push this stuff, but I don't know. I do think Luton is a real fan, but he does kind of, or did at the very least. I don't know. For all I don't watch his channel anymore because of his previous statements about 40K not having a canon, which kind of devalues his whole fucking channel. But you know, like he might have corrected himself since then and be like, well, actually, I do think there is a canon. I just went a little far with, you know, stressing to people not to stress about the lore. I don't know. Maybe he has said that, but I wouldn't know. I don't watch his stuff anymore. I don't respect him as a lore tuber because of that take. Like, I think anyone who makes the claim that lore is, like, there's no canon, to me, it's a gross representation of how you don't know what lore is, and you have no right to cover it if you're someone who's going to have such a shit take. That's me. Like, that's why I have no respect for Luton as a lore tuber. But as a fan of 40K, I'm not going to deny he's a fan. Absolutely. Like, I've seen his videos. I've seen the detail covering. In fact, if anything, it's all the more tragic that he is a real fan, but yet has such an unfan-like take that something he's a fan of basically doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, I do respect him from a lore documenting point of view, because he may have his own take of, you know, there is no set lore, there is no set canon, but everything, as far as I know, that he's talked about, he definitely does in very, very excruciating but necessary detail. So at least when he does present what's written down, it's very sort of nail on the head with making very few mistakes. And the fact that himself saying that there is no set lore and set canon, although he's verbally expressed it, he kind of keeps it to himself and doesn't keep plaguing every single video that he does about it, if you get me.
Yeah.
Like, he has his stance, but when it comes to the actual content and lore dumping and explanations, I do respect him, just why I watch him. I do like Luton if I don't agree with the lore thing.
Yeah, I don't respect him as a lore tuber, but as a hobbyist, I'll respect him.
And I barely watched him, so I don't care either way about him.
But anyway, that was us covering our choices anyway for most underrated factions from a human/chaos perspective and Xenos. So I guess we do community questions, or is there anything else about those we'd like to say?
Nothing I want to add, unless anyone else has got a topic that they want to bring up, because
Did
I've
we
got
actually-
community questions right here.
hang on. We did do we did the Imperium, we did Xenos. I don't know if we did Chaos, but you know what? Like, if you just want to go into community questions, that's fine too.
I think Asmo lumped the chaos because when I said initially before about broaching the Xenos and the humans, I think humans does incorporate like Chaos Space Marines and the Heretic bands.
Yeah.
No, think about. Yeah, technically speaking, I did do both. So with the Death Specters, but yeah, sure. All
right. So community questions.
What do community questions? Okie doke. Right. So, gonna do 3. Is that fine with you, gentlemen?
Yep. Assuming we can answer them. Effectively.
Answer.
Right. So, the first community question I want to bring up is in dedication to a Mr. Captain Caboose, whose birthday it was recently. So, again, happy. Hope you had a really good birthday, man.
Happy birthday!
As we
Even
say.
though you didn't fucking tell anyone Carnot to announce it.
Yeah.
Goddamn. So, Caboose's question is best 40k, non-40k media. So, I think what he means by this is a piece of media that's nothing to do with 40k, but it's very much in the spirit of it. As best as I know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I asked him like to clarify, and he did clarify that that's what he meant.
Yeah.
I think we all have the same answer though. Maybe we should avoid bringing up Event Horizon.
I was gonna say StarCraft, but yeah.
Well, that's bullshit. You can't use because StarCraft is literally just 40k but ripped off. Because Blizzard couldn't. Well, because it is 40k. It is like StarCraft was 40k, like even to the point that the names were the same and the designs were the same until last minute GW and Blizzard had some kind of falling out, and then Blizzard were like, "Well, we're not throwing this programming away," so they just changed the names to shit. it is 40k. That's like answering the question of like, hey, like I want you guys to provide me something that isn't a dragon. Okay, here's a wyvern. It's like it is what? It's a dragon minus 2 legs. Like, come on, man.
By the way, why did you say we should avoid bringing up Event Horizon?
Well, because I just figured that'd be everybody's answer. Because like that's most people's answer to this type of question is like, hey, like a piece of media that is 40k, effectively, or that showcases 40k, but
to be fair, I've not seen Event Horizon, so I can't pick that as my answer.
Okay.
But
you see it. It's good.
It's very good.
Yeah.
Without spoiling it for you, community-wise, it's considered like humanity's first interaction with the warp.
I've literally just looked up Event Horizon to see it. I'm probably gonna stream it later. I don't fucking.
It's.
For legal reasons, I do not promote piracy. But I do promote the streaming of movies because technically that's not pirating.
Yeah, if you own the movie.
It's a really
no, not if you own the movie, but someone else owns the movie and they're showing it to you via the internet.
Yeah, like for me, it's such a good film because it's like, what if a Geller field went down?
Wait a minute. Wait the fucking minute. Really? Oh my god, Sam Neill's in it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dr. Alan. Holy shit, Dr. Alan Grant's in Event Horizon. Oh my god, I'm so gonna watch it now.
If you want, we could watch party it tonight if you're gonna stay up that late. But yeah,
I've got a few things to plan out, so sadly can't. But definitely, I really want to do a watch day one day.
Yeah, it's again for anybody else out there watching the podcast right now who has not seen Event Horizon. The community of the 40k community has effectively agreed. Not unanimously, right? Like, you don't have everyone's vote, but a lot of 40k fans have kind of agreed that Event Horizon is uncanonically, but canonically, humanity's first interaction with the warp. Because it's like, no Geller field, what would the warp be like for humans even the golden age of humanity? Like, humanity that's more advanced than we are now, but not at the golden age yet, what would have happened if they had interacted with the warp before they could do proper space travel and had Geller fields. What would it look like? That's essentially what Event Horizon is. And in fact, I think this might be just something I heard that's a piece of false trivia, but I think I've seen the movie. I don't recall this, but apparently there's some kind of reference to 40K at some point in the movie.
Wouldn't be surprised if there was.
I need to watch it again because it's been a bit of a while.
Yeah, I won't say what it is. Like, I know the specific, like, what I've heard it is, and I don't remember it. But to avoid spoiling it for Nathan, like, there's apparently some symbols at some point that look suspect. But regardless, the film is not 40K. It's not GW supported or funded, and it's got, you know, none of the marketing or anything. Nothing about it is actually 40K. But it's the community accepted answer to this type of question is the best piece of media that would represent an element from 40K. It'd be Event Horizon. Like, what is the warp like? This movie answers the question. What's it like to encounter without a Geller field?
Yeah.
I was going to say, so because I've not seen Event Horizon, my favorite piece of 40K media, that it is not 40K, but it's very much in the vein. Given my favorite Xenos faction, it would have to. I know it's a basic bitch answer, but Starship Troopers.
Yeah,
Good
But
choice.
only the first fucking film. None of that shit afterwards.
I mean, I did enjoy the CGI ones. Those were,
Well, I mean, there was a
cannot-
CGI one that was actually very good, but it was very campy.
The musical
It was very
number from the
Japanese.
third film you cannot beat.
I've only seen the first one.
No.
I've also the CGI movies. I've
Ah,
never.
It's gay.
So
It's gay.
yeah.
Fuck up, Asmo. No
Actually,
musical
such a
numbers
good
in my
song.
40K media.
I do.
Good.
Wait, wasn't it in the? Wait, I think I do remember watching the second one.
The second one's an old
some
Dark
point.
House film with the budget of a Happy Meal.
Isn't that the one that was the second one where they're basically at like a tower and they're slowly picked off or some shit like that?
Yeah, it's an old Dark House horror movie. It
yeah,
had the-
yeah.
It's the one where their weapons. The budget was so cheap they didn't even bother trying to do a cheap, like, flare effect, like with like a PNG image or something in the editing. No, they literally just put strobe lights in the actual prop of the gun and turned that on.
Wow.
It's so visibly a strobe light. It's painful. And the acting and everything, like this. Anyone out there who wants to watch the Starship Troopers movies, watch the first one, stop there, and if you absolutely must watch another one, watch the CG ones, and then look up the musical number from the third film, and then that's it. Like,
I think
don't watch.
Don't watch. Yeah. I think the only thing that I remember from the second one, and I might be misremembering this, but it's basically in the ending where the guy is where there's some guy who has lost his hand, and then he sees like a mother with a baby, and it's like, "Come on, son, we need to feed the soldiers." And the mother is just like looking at the baby, it's like, "No, you're not gonna feed my son, are you?" Or some shit like that.
Oh shit, hang on. Sorry, it's Starship Troopers 1 and Starship Troopers Invasion. That's the only CG one I've seen, but I think if you if you kind of like Japanese campy sort of animation over the top shit, I would recommend Invasion, but just one. Just stick with one. It's a complete film in of itself.
Yeah.
Don't fucking watch the musicals. I swear to God, like, your boner for killing bugs will just die.
Actually, I listen to that song on repeat when I do Terminated missions in Helldivers 2.
You're
It's
you're
so
a
good.
theater
It's so
theater
good.
kid. Of course you love campy songs.
It's so entertaining. I will die on this hill. That song, that one musical number from the third film, makes the film bearable. Not really. I skip to the end credits every single time because that's where it plays in full. That movie is absolute ass, but that musical number was like, if there's anything good that came from that shit movie, it's absolutely that musical number. I will die on that hill.
Jesus.
Oh, Nico. So what'd be your pick then?
See, that's a difficult one. I think in terms of, well, so there's kind of it's kind of just an aspect of 40K, right? The one that kind of springs to mind for me is, have you guys seen the 2005 War of the Worlds?
Who hasn't?
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah. Well, there's a little bit where the land is like corrupted and stuff like that, and I was just like, that kind of looks like what happened if the Tyranids would invade the planet.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, it's not really a strong answer, I know, but I mean, we already mentioned Event Horizon and Starship Troopers. After that, I mean, I suppose Terminator, but
I mean, to be fair, like it's
I
not
mean-
like you can have the same answers as us, you know. It's
I mean, if you go with Terminator, though, like that's kind of like going to the source of something that's in 40K.
Mhm.
yeah.
Because 40K, the reason Terminator reminds you of 40K is 40K stole from it.
Yeah. So
To the point that I will remind everyone once again, if you look back at the 3rd edition, Necron rules, what was the name of the revive stratagem for Necrons? We will be back.
Hang on, hang on a minute. Couldn't you say that about my pick as well? Because did GW steal from Starship Troopers in terms of like the NIDs?
Well, to be fair, Starship Troopers
Because-
came out after 40K 2nd edition.
The book.
yeah, that came in the 50s.
Yeah. But when did the NIDs come out?
NIDS?
They
specifically?
came in the 1st edition, which is 1987.
Yeah. Which is Rogue Trader.
So again, you could kind of pick my answer as like GW copying from them in terms of like a
Yeah.
big bug spacefaring, you know, like invading different planets and shit.
True. I think it's still fair to use it, I guess. So yeah, if you want to go with Terminator Nicho, that works.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't exclude our Nico. He's new here. you leave him alone. Oh,
No.
you've made him cry.
I mean, I guess since we're, I was gonna exempt Event Horizon because I thought we were all gonna pick it, but I guess I was the only one thinking it. My other choice was gonna be Aliens for the Tyranids.
that was gonna be my second pick.
Yeah.
Like I said,
Actually,
I definitely would pick Event Horizon, like I said, if it's seen it, but sadly I've not. So
Yeah, I would also pick Aliens not just for the Tyranids though, but also the Imperial Guard because the Colonial Marines, pretty clear
Yeah.
through there.
yeah.
So that's our answers to that question, I think.
as opposed, technically also Predator because of the Catachan jungle
Yeah,
fighters. But yeah.
I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
Isn't Sly Marbo just based off of Rambo, like in general?
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Rambo, fucking Rambo Swatch. Oh my god.
He's a cross between Rambo and Arnold Schwarzenegger's main character from The Predator, which
Dutch.
Yeah.
Dutch. So that's pretty much who Sly Marbo is. He's just the cross
Okay.
between those two.
So Caboose's question, best 40k, non-40k media, is done. So the next question is from Mr. Codex 566, and he asks, "I might have an idea. What is the worst 40k/heresy novel, not counting the Demonculaba or anything, that Ian Watson wrote that you have ever read?"
Wait, so the worst Ian Watson 40K book that we've ever read, or not that book specifically by
So-
Ian Watson?
Right. No, I'll say again. So he says, "I might have an idea. What is the worst 40k/heresy novel, not counting the Demonculaba or anything Ian Watson wrote?" So excluding the Demonculaba or anything Ian Watson wrote, what's the worst shit you've ever read in terms of 40k? I've got an answer. I've got an answer immediately. Although I will say, Asmo, Nico, is it okay if I ask you two for this answer, because I clearly have to rely on you two if I'm allowed to have this answer?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure.
Are you sure? Like, are you sure? Because I've got to consult you guys for this answer, apparently, because you're the co-host, and I'm not allowed to have my own opinion.
You're allowed to have your own
Oh
opinion,
wait,
man. Come
oh
on.
that's what you're referencing.
Yeah.
No, fuck
yeah,
off.
yes.
I thought you were gonna ask our opinion about like a certain book that you hadn't finished reading or something. No, I know what you're doing, you shithead.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's an inside joke. Some people get it, but yeah. So I can't really, because I've not really read the books, and as much as I wouldn't exactly. Oh, plus also to clarify, I did ask him what he meant by worst in terms of like worst as in grimdark, as in like it's the grittiest stuff. But no, he meant worst as in like it's shit, like it's just trash. So I've not read any of the books. At least I've made that obvious. But that does make my safest option the Warhammer Adventure books, because by principle alone, I think that's absolute cancer. 40k for kids. I needn't go on.
I just love the idea though that they pick up the Adventures book and then they accidentally pick up the other ones. It's like, oh, they're just gonna be like the Adventures, right?
I'm
And then
gonna pick up Warhammer Adventures. It's got a space orangutan on the front, and then they read it and like, oh no, oh no, the Jaquero's getting turned into a flesh suit.
they're killing 10-year-olds and then having them survive the Black River.
Yes. Yes. Me and my group of friends and my gang, we met a bunch of friendly space marines. They're not like the ultramarines, though, who were very kind to us. These people say they're called the Death Spectres, but they seem very friendly. They're taking us into a cave in a minute. I wonder what wonderful things are going to be. Oh no. Yeah. So like, and I'm gonna get fuckers on the comments that are gonna be like, oh well, if you've not read it, how can you not like it? Well, it's the same way as I don't like cheese in my dish, right? And I don't like tomatoes by themselves. What fucking makes you think I'm gonna like a lasagna? There are certain things that you can know before you indulge in something, before you can go, you know what? I'm not gonna go through the displeasure of eating that. Same with the book. 40k for kids? Nah. By principle alone, that's just shit. The storytelling might be good, but in principle alone, there's one book that's like, ooh, Warhammer Adventures, stories from the far future, some shit like that, where they encounter a gene stealer. I will bet my bottom fucking pound, in my bank account right now, that none of those kids die in that book from the hands of a fucking gene stealer.
Or, dude, you know what? No, let's go even further extreme. They meet through Kari.
Exactly.
I only read the first one, and that was bad enough.
I'm pretty sure I mentioned in the first, this is a throwback, but remember when we did the stream, Asmo, where we would all play in a Deathwing?
Yeah.
And we found out about I mentioned Warhammer Adventures for the first time, and we got your live reaction. Oh, I fucking love that.
I still hate you for that.
And you're welcome, baby. And one of the things I said was, how the fuck do you explain Slanesh? Because they're gonna find out about exactly. So there's no point in setting in a grim, dark setting adventures for children to read about, because you're either going to ruin the franchise or you're going to coddle them to the point where they're not going to find out about the lore. So then what's the point?
Honestly, I think it's a big insult to the fan base and to a lot of people who got into 40k from their parents, because there's a lot of people our age or even a little bit older than us, like their parents were into 40k and then got them into it. And did they get them into it through a kid-friendly avenue? No, they just showed them the miniatures, and then from there the kids learned about the books and then read the books.
Mm-hmm.
Like that, exactly. That's how a lot of younger people got into it, from family-wise. They didn't need a Warhammer Adventures to get into it.
So while technically I didn't get into it via the books or the models initially, you know, like as everyone knows on the channel, I got it through Dawn of War. And I was attracted to 40k because I found the Necrons and the fact that they can literally summon a gigantic Grim Reaper that can cut Space Marines in fucking half. I was like, woo! I want to learn about that. That's cool. There's blood. There's gore. There's dying.
There's tits.
Exactly. That shit's cool. That's the tits.
Yeah, like I agree. Like your choice is like the best one for like the worst books. I did pick some that are outside of that because it is a very. To be fair to who asked this question again? Sorry, like my brain farted.
So I was gonna say. So I do apologize, Codex, but that's the only answer I can pick. But to be fair, I think that's the best because it's not even like anything in the book's heretical. It's just the entire premise of the fucking book's heretical. Like it's mere existence.
The books.
Is a travesty.
The books are fucking heretical. Oh my god! Like the main one of the main characters. Like as someone who's actually read it. Because I put myself,
I can imagine, yeah.
Put myself
I can
through
imagine
that.
inside as well.
I put myself through the suffering of not only reading the first Warhammer Adventures book, but listening to the audiobook, which was far less suffering because the 10th Doctor is talking in your ear for several hours. But
David Tennant.
Yes, he voiced he voices the audiobook for it.
Yeah, but I think Billy Piper does one as well. It was Rose from Doctor Who.
I do not know. I do not care. I cannot do another one. One of the main characters from the book openly talks about how he doesn't believe in the Emperor and thinks basically, I'm paraphrasing, thinks it's all bullshit and thinks the Emperor doesn't give a damn and has abandoned them. He literally says this out loud. This is an internal monologue. This is out loud in the middle of a crowded Imperium vessel.
Someone loads a ginormous bolter.
Yeah, just after they escaped the planet that they were all on, after the Necrons were going ham. And it's fucking bullshit. Because what was the reaction of him doing that? Another character went, "You can't say that." That's it. That's like the most visceral response.
You wouldn't even get it. You can't say that. You'd be like, you can no longer say that because there's a bolt around through your fucking nose.
Yeah, it doesn't even need to be a bolt. It doesn't even need to be a space marine. A normal person, a normal civilian would kill that kid for that. That's heresy.
Dude, if someone heard that, like, full-blown witch hunt.
Yeah, and they
would be out for that motherfucker.
They even told him to keep his voice down, and he repeated it.
I can imagine a guardsman wouldn't do it because they might be slightly sympathetic towards that it's a child, but do that around a commissar.
Depends on the guardsman.
Again, again, bolt around, las round. I don't fucking care either one. Semantics, but that'll be placed right through your fucking mouth.
It's
the moment you said that, said, "Ha, I can't speak any heresies if you've got no mouth to speak it with."
Oh yeah, by the way, the guy who wrote that book is also responsible for the High Republic, a lot of the High Republic comics.
I fucking know, Kevin Scott.
I will never forget that man's fucking name for all the wrong reasons.
I covered it. Yeah, I covered the Kevin Scott when I did the Hasbro buying out 40k Warhammer Adventures fucking theory, some shit like that.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Fuck that, man.
To provide a separate answer to the obvious pick, for me, I have two answers. One for the retcon / mitigation of mitigation. Let's just go with the word retcon. For retcon reasons, I fucking hate Saturn 9 with an absolute burning passion because that's where Urda. That's Urda and Astarte. Like, that bullshit and horrendous nonsense being added to the lore. No. Horrible. Ugh.
Lore destroying.
Literally lore destroying. To the point that the community and Black Library at this point kind of ignored that they wrote it. It's like oh yeah, and moving on now. Nobody wants to hang on that at all. Nobody. because it's that bad of an inclusion. It's so bad. But if I had to pick one that's bad, not for like a reason like that, for like retcon reasons, if I had to pick one that's just bad in terms of its writing or its relation to the other books, I'd have to go with Battle for the Abyss. It's the 8th book in the Horus Heresy series. And the reason for that is not because the story isn't interesting, or the story isn't really 40k, or it's not fun, or it's not, it's not for those kind of reasons. It's more that it just has dick all to do with anything else that comes after or before it.
Like inconsequential, basically.
It's utterly inconsequential. Like the story, like it's the whole book is the equivalent to a filler arc in anime. Like it's stuff that's just never referenced again. Like the characters in it never appear again. The events that happened never get talked about. It just nothing happens. Like if it's a whole book that has dick all to do with the rest of the series. And the kind of the worst part about it is it's such a fun story. But again, it's never referenced again. The characters never appear again. Nothing about it has any consequence. So it's like, did it even happen?
Sorry. When you say filler episode, I could just imagine like the filler episode from Dragon Ball Z when everyone learns to drive, but it's 40k. So you've got like Gilliman in a fucking Range Rover going, like, hey Lion, I think I'm getting the hang of this. Whoa, hold the brake, Gilliman. God, they just crash into a wall and like, not again.
To be fair, it's not that disconnected. At least like the events of the book are about the beginnings of the heresy. Like the summary of the book, for those who don't know, is Battle for the Abyss has like several main characters. We have like 2 Ultramarine characters, if I recall correctly. 2 Ultramarines, a World Eater, and a Thousand Sun. All of them are together kind of as like as a group. I'm trying to remember exactly why they were together. I remember the Space Wolf. Oh yeah, there was also Space Wolf. The Space Wolf was there with the Ultramarines because of some kind of like group exercise exchange, something like that. Like he was there on behalf of his legion, doing some kind of cross-legion training, I think. Regardless, he was there along with a small retinue of other Space Wolves, but the story takes place with only him and the Ultramarines and the World Eater and the Thousand Sun. This all sounds like a really weird, they all walk into a bar joke, but this is right at, like, keep in mind, this is like right after the heresy kicked off. This is before a lot of these guys even found out their legions were now enemies. Like the World Eater and the Thousand Sun did not know they were now part of Chaos. Which again, it kind of adds to the disconnect it has from the rest of the story. Because it feels so weird. It feels like they are out of time and out of sync. So that only helps to make the story feel out of sync. Because at this point, the Thousand Suns are about to be besieged on Prospero by the Space Wolves. Yet here is a Thousand Sun and a Space Wolf working alongside each other to fight Word Bearers. Which the whole book is about the Word Bearers invading the Ultramar system with ships. And these guys are all like invading a very specific superpowered ship that's going in to destroy shit. Like again, it's super weird because like the whole time you're reading it, like if you're someone who goes into the Horus Heresy series with the knowledge, like the broad stuff, like the heresy kicks off. And like these are the bad guys, quote unquote, like the Thousand Suns, the World Eaters, the Death Guard, the Sons of Horus, like they're on one side and the Ultramarines on the other, and that's kind of how it is. But this book, it's like, okay, a bunch of these guys who are supposed to be enemies right now are allies. That you can kind of understand. It's like, okay, they're not with their legions and they're not like up to snuff with the latest information. So that's probably why. But then, like, there's the Word Bearers who come in who have openly gone traitor and are fighting them. But this doesn't get referenced again after this book. Why? So, yeah, the whole book is kind of a fun adventure. It really is. Because this ragtag group fight, like, trying to, like, deal with this ship that's, like, tumbling through the Ultramar system and is about to destroy shit. They're all working together to stop them. And it kind of ends in a badass way where the World Eater character, who's been kind of standoffish with everybody else, and he gets stuck on the Word Bearer's ship, but he's on his own, and he gets scared. I think he gets scared by like some demons and shit, and he's like somewhat afraid to fight, but then he garners the courage to do so, and he self-sacrifices himself to basically cause this ship to not self-destruct, but nearly self-destruct. Like he sabotages it from the inside. And yeah, like there's a bunch of stuff that happens in this book. And to be fair, I haven't read it in like 6 years, so I might have some details wrong. Pretty sure I got the broad stuff correct. But regardless, all of what I'm saying has dick all to do with any of the other books because it's never referenced again. Ever. None of the characters appear again. None of the events are referred to. No consequence. Nothing. That's the sad part about it. Like, that's why I dislike this book, because if you read it, it's such a fun story, but it might as well not be canon.
So you could definitely skip that one.
Yeah, if you need to skip a book while you're reading the first few, book 8, Battle for the Abyss, skip it. It's a good book if you just want to sit down and listen to a good story that is 40K. It's good. But if you're trying to like get the flow of like the heresy, if you're trying to like consume the notable events and stuff and how they actually relate to others, this book is a giant fuck you to that. So that would be my pick from that angle. So it again, it does depend. Saturnine, if we're going for like retcons and like negative effects as well as not being that awesome of a book, it has some awesome moments, don't get me wrong. But Saturnine for the Urda stuff, you almost forget the rest of the fucking book.
No, it's a very good answer.
Yeah. So for me, it kind of depends on what angle, because usually I don't make the habit of buying bad books. You know, I always listen usually to people who, you know, have read the books and would recommend them or not. I do have that book, you know, The Death in the End, Volume 3. And this is, now bear in mind, this is before I knew about the retcon stuff. This is before that, you know, and also it was super rare at the time, and I wanted to just get it for collection's sake. Haven't heard all the retcons within that book. Yeah, I can't really say other than yeah, it's the one that I hate the most. I think it is genuinely one of the worst. Maybe, well, you could definitely make an argument on which is worse, Saturnine or this one. But, you know, for retconning such an iconic piece of 40K lore, for me, it's just a great disservice to the 40K series. If it includes books that I don't own and I haven't read, if that's even allowed. I mean, I do know there are some books that have like a bad reputation. I think it's, what was it called? The Reflection Cracked? If only because, you know, it pisses on a lot of the progress with Fulgrim, so. Yeah, sorry, I don't really have a specific answer for this.
Well, I mean, to be fair, like, neither do I. Because, you know, like I said, I've not read any of the books, so I've just put all of Warhammer Adventures as my thing. You know, you're a lot more read up on 40K than I am, so.
Yeah, and
tell me about the Reflection Cracked, because it's
so,
nice to hear that Fulgrim's actually mentioned in his own book.
So,
the whole Fulgrim book is about Fulgrim.
Well, yeah. So the whole bit is about, so a bit of a spoiler warning. The soul of Fulgrim is basically stuck in a painting, yeah? And basically, I think, what was it, that he sees like a demon version of himself. And there were some bits about snake sex.
Fucking
I think
what?
you're twisting stuff. Well, I'm trying to remember from Reflection Cracked. Reflection Cracked might have gone over it, but in the actual Fulgrim novel, where he acquires the sword from the snake people, like the snake sex thing that was happening in the chamber where the sword was to be found.
Right.
Yeah.
So my mistake.
You're missing out, Nathan. You got a lot to read.
I do not want to read a book. But, well, I mean, typical. As I was joking before, Fulgrim's got his own book and everything, and I think the most memorable thing from that book would be the snake sex, which is a testament to how the Iron Hands are kind of forgettable with everything else that's going on around them.
I mean, if you're trying,
Fulgrim's got his own book. Fuck it, snake sex.
Yeah, if you're trying to get the full picture between of Fulgrim in the lore, a lot of people would say read the Fulgrim novel. Like, it's actually just called Fulgrim. Pretty straightforward. Read that, and then read Reflection Cracked. A lot of people hate the latter. I don't necessarily hate it. I can't blame anybody for hating it, I suppose, because it just takes Fulgrim's character down a route people weren't a fan of.
Yep.
But for the fall that he had, like, I think there are worse. I don't know. Like, I don't have a huge stake in this. I'm not a huge Fulgrim fan, and I'm also not a huge Emperor's Children fan. The one Emperor's Children character I absolutely adore is Rylanor, and that's fucking it, pretty much. I mean, I respect Soltavitz, of course, but Rylanor is really the only one I like in any extent.
I mean, kind of the point of that is just like he's literally telling the Emperor's Children's Primarch, "Go fuck yourself."
Yeah.
With a virus bomb. I love that.
So, but yeah, like Reflection Cracked and Fulgrim, like those, read those, like, if you're just looking for Fulgrim stuff, read those too. And those pretty much go over everything you need to know about Fulgrim. Yeah. But the negative reaction to Reflection Cracked comes in the fact that when in it, like, to really summarize it effectively, the story just kind of is boiled down to, because in the Fulgrim novel, Fulgrim picked up a sword from a Slaaneshi world that they didn't know was Slaanesh because the Primarchs didn't know about the Chaos Gods, with the exception of Horus, who was the only one told about them. And even he was only told they were warp entities by the Emperor. He wasn't given the full picture. So all of them were completely in the unknown when dealing with warp stuff. So Fulgrim, when he went to this world and was purging it for the Imperium during the Great Crusade, he just thought it was business as usual, came upon a sword there that was like a silvery... It was a demon sword, effectively. A demon was inside it, and he took it up, and it slowly started to eat away at his subconscious and his morality. It basically became an evil Jiminy Cricket, constantly like affecting. That's effectively what it was. It was an evil Jiminy Cricket just eating away at his sense of reason and his sense of logic, really just breaking his mind down entirely without him knowing, to the point that it's the whole reason he cut Ferris's head off upon Isfan 5. The whole reason he cut Ferris's head off, because in his duel with Ferris on that plateau, during that fight, by all accounts, Ferris had the upper hand because the two of them were fighting with each other's forged weapons. Actually, no, because I'm pretty sure Ferris destroyed... Because they had two duels. They had the duel on that planet, and they had a duel when Fulgrim went to Ferris on his flagship and tried to convince him to turn traitor against the Emperor. Failed, utterly. And the two of them kind of had a brief, like, one-on-one on the ship. Fulgrim won that pretty much hands down. And then when they were on the planet of Isfan 5, they were dueling with weapons. I know he wasn't using the Silver Sword, the corrupted demon sword, and during the whole fight. He was using another blade. They were fighting each other. Ferris had the upper hand and was just about to deal a killing blow on Fulgrim. And though Fulgrim consciously didn't want to kill Ferris, because he was his favorite brother, he moved reflexively, like something willed him to unsheath the sword, the demon sword, and he cut Ferris's head off. Well, actually, initially he just like wounded him and crippled him, and then when Ferris was on his knees, like very badly wounded, Fulgrim had the sword at the ready to kill him, but he didn't want to. In fact, in the moment, he was like, oh no, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? No, this is wrong. No, this is wrong. I can't believe this is happening. He wanted to drop the sword. Like, Fulgrim did not want to strike. He didn't want to... He felt regret. He's like, no, I can't do this. This is wrong. What have I done? And then something, we know what, it was the demon in the sword, pressed his will, and he cut Ferris's head off. And he fought tooth and nail in his own mind not to do it. But he still did it. So with his favorite brother's head rolling on the ground and him being dead, Fulgrim fell into despair. Like, he's like, I'm broken, I'm dead inside, I want to die. I just killed my favorite brother. And the evil Jiminy Cricket whispered in his mind, if you want to be destroyed, surrender to me and I will destroy you. So Fulgrim said, please kill me. Problem was, the demon had a different idea of what that looked like. Because he didn't destroy him, he just possessed him. Like, he took him over his body. And that was the end of, effectively the end of the Fulgrim novel. The end was the demon possessing Fulgrim visited Horus and spoke with him. And Horus was like, one day I'll free you, brother. But I kind of need this fucked up demon possessing your body for right now during this war. But afterwards, I'll save you. Thank you, Horus. What a good bro. That's how the Fulgrim novel ended. And I think a lot of people, including myself, really liked the novel. There's lots of holes and issues with it. But for the most part, it's fairly enjoyable. The problem with Mirror Crack, or whatever the fuck it's called. Reflection Crack, thank you. The problem with that, I only read it once, so forgive me if I don't have the details exactly correct. But the reason with that is the book leads to eventually Fulgrim regaining control of his body from the demon.
Yep.
But effectively, he just became worse than the demon.
Yeah, that just...
Which pissed a lot of people off. Like, a lot of people were really unhappy with that. They're like, oh...
I don't even care about Ferris anymore.
Yeah, that
like,
stuff.
Dude.
Oh, gee, I wonder why it pissed people off. Because you give any answers.
Also,
to be fair to the book, though, like the details that I'm not providing here are the whole book is about the fact that Fulgrim got shoved into that painting, but he never stopped being corrupted while his soul was in it. Like, so the entire time his soul is in the mirror or in the painting, whatever it is, it's being actively corrupted by Slaanesh. Like, that's all that's happening to his soul. So when he exits it, that's kind of why. It's not like he was like himself the whole time. His soul was just there, and then magically he exits it, and now he's a dickhead. He was being corrupted the whole fucking time. Again, like, that's my defense of that. Like, it's not exactly like his soul was left alone and then he regained control and then he was magically a dickhead. There was a reason, but it for a lot of people it just wasn't enough of a reason. It wasn't justified enough, and I think that's fair. Like, again, I don't have any like horses in this race, right? I'm not huge on Fulgrim or Ferris. I'm not huge on the Emperor's Children. So for me, either way, I'm not going to like fight anybody about it. But I'm not going to... I think it's a little unfair to act like the book had no explanation for it. It wasn't like a 180.
Yeah. Well, what I will say, and this is something you know what? I'm sure someone in the comments will correct me if I'm wrong, and by all means do so. Another another reason people don't necessarily like the novel is that there's like a 14-minute, like if you listen to the audiobook, there's like a 14-minute like description of Fulgrim being tortured, and I'm just, it's like it goes into eerie details.
True, that also contributes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, I can imagine how that would be seen as distasteful and like not exactly pleasant to listen to. But Nico, aren't you a big fan of the Dark Eldar, like we covered in the first 2 episodes? How come you're complaining, Mister?
I only like them in the sense that they're complete edgelords, and I also like the fact that the thing is, I also like the fact that they are perfect to fight against. They're pure evil. There's no moral like quandary about it. It's just like no, just kill them. It's like you're doing probably the universe a favor, honestly.
You're doing God's work.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hashtag Vulcan did nothing wrong when he burnt that child to death.
Yeah.
But but again, like it's stuff like that though, right there. Like he was tortured inside it. His mind was fucked up. So again, that's just proving my point, right? Like he didn't pop out and was just a dickhead for no reason. He was fucked with.
So, am I safe to say that that's the question answered?
I think so.
I would say so. Yeah.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you, Codex, for your question. Oh, also thank you, Kibis, for your question. So, one more. And we roll right back round to Dragonis. His next question is, favorite 2 characters from every faction?
Oh, fuck off.
God,
that's an episode.
That's like an episode's length, yeah.
Okay, you want to save it for an episode?
That is an episode. Yeah, let's save that for an episode because that is. Whew.
Okay, Koki, right?
Yeah,
I will mark that down as a topic for another episode. Dragonis, don't worry, we will roll back to your question. I've marked it down, so we're not missing you. Do not worry. Okie doke. Let's go with Lord Pink. I feel like we owe him another question because of all the fantastic artwork he's been doing, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Favorite 40k mini and why? He says, let's say 1 to 3 minis from each of you.
Favorite 40k mini and why? Across all eras or current?
Any. He didn't specify, so I think by that metric it's fine to go with any. Because I've got one for a really cool one, and I've got a derpy one as well. Because I think it's fine to embrace both aspects of the mini.
Certainly. And I'm just gonna get some of the images for reference. But who wants to go first?
Because, so, for like really cool, there's a lot you could pick from. And also it depends on the paint job as well. Because sometimes paint jobs can improve minis, but sometimes they can kind of ruin them. But I think it's fair to go with the mini that is from the get-go really cool, even when you're looking at it in like its grey sort of plastic without any work done on it. Obviously assembled, but you know. I'm not gonna lie, for my off the top of my head, one that I really, really, really love is the Avatar of Cain.
That one does look cool, yeah. Especially the new redesign, I think.
Yeah, let me just upload a picture. I'm not sure if you're going to include this in the edited version, Asmo, but
if you guys give me the images, I can. Yeah.
Yeah. That looks fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like that is metal as fuck. There's like a big like Eldar Xeno god of war, like flames bursting everywhere. Like that just gives me flashbacks to all the moments I've used him in like Ultimate Apocalypse. It's like that is fucking sick. Like apart from any chaos miniature, I don't think you can get more metal than that, than a gigantic fiery god of war, an alien one at that. Love the Avatar Arcane. Although to be I don't think there is. I think there's one thing I do dislike about the model though. Can anybody guess what it is?
What?
Guess what the one thing I don't like about that model is.
Let me see. The I don't know, the grass texture or something. I don't know.
No, the price.
Oh,
It's GW. What the fuck do you think I was gonna go for?
motherfucker! I
We were
thought
talking
you were
about the
saying, like,
model.
on the model.
I said, well, technically the price is attached to the model. One thing about the model, the price of it.
Yeah.
Aha, should be thinking out the box more, kiddos.
Well, I have my answers ready with images to accompany them. So, for me, and since you said 1 to 3, so I'm gonna go with the full 3. The first one, just to try to differentiate a little bit, is the redesign of Morgan Ra.
Ooh.
It just, yeah, like I said earlier, like I'm a big Darksiders fan, and this just basically looks like Death meets with Aldar, which is, you know, it's like that's just like easy lay for me. The second one is kind of obvious, but I don't care. I love it. Demon Angron. I just look at it. Mwah. I love that. That is so metal.
That is fucking sick. Although I will. There is one thing about Demon Angron that I can't shake.
What?
Is the fact that you see his face.
Mm-hmm.
I do
What?
Every time I look at Demon Angron, the only thing I can imagine with that face is let me try and find a picture for reference. Okay, yeah. So when I look at Demon Angron and you kind of like zoom in, the only thing I can imagine is retard Cartman. It's kind of got the same face. Please tell me I'm not the only one that sees that similarity.
I cannot unsee that now. Okay. And the last one, and this is actually for the Drukhari. The model I'm looking for is hang on. Drassar, Master of Blades.
Ooh. That's pretty neat.
Yeah, I also love his one of the official artworks. Just in black and white. I like it.
Ooh, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
Ooh, the fucking the shadow effect at the bottom, like that shadow mist sort. Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's sexy.
That is good. Asmo, what minis are your favorite?
Whoa, hang on, mister.
No.
You fucking picking 3 minutes. I didn't get to my derby.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please.
You fucking.
You know what? That was a mistake. Please,
Alright.
my dear friend, pick the last few.
Sorry. So my derpy pick for the mini is, I think, one that if you've seen it, you'll know exactly what I'm on about. But if you've never sort of seen it, then you're missing out. Is the old miniature for like the OG miniature. I think it's derpy because of what he is now and not what he was. They gave this motherfucker a glow up because he looked so much like a troglodyte. but was the very old miniature for Magnus the fucking Red.
Oh my god.
When he wasn't red, he was blue.
Isn't this from the epic Warhammer?
Yeah, look at that fucking goober.
Oh my god. Oh, jeez.
It looks like a cave troll from Skyrim.
I'm pretty sure that is a repurposed fantasy. Trying to remember the name. I'm pretty sure that is a fantasy model that they just slightly resculpted.
What, GW officially?
Well, that model is GW official.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, you made it sound like this entire time like a fan had done it and everyone believed it was the GW official model, but if it's the official model, yeah.
No, it's they themselves took one of their fantasy sculpts.
Yeah.
And like slightly shifted it. I'm pretty sure. I think they did that for like each of the Primarch's fucking models.
Yeah.
It's
old Magnus the Red is derpy as fuck, but I love him. In the same way that only a mother could love their ugly child. I look at him and go, "Aw, look at him. He's trying."
He might be a Primarch.
It doesn't even look psychically inclined. It just looks like he'd just go, I hit you with stick with green orb. Bang.
Ooga booga.
Ooh, yeah, ooga booga, clang.
I hit with stick.
I hate with stick. So yeah, those are my two. Well, I mean, like, I could go on forever about cool models, but yeah, those are my two picks.
Okay. I got 3. Well, actually, I got 500, but I'll try and limit it down to 3. So my picks. So I'm gonna go first with my pick for the Imperial Knight, specifically the Canis Rex. I'm gonna use a picture of one of my own.
Nice.
I'll share that one. Black Templar themed. So I really like this model because, first of all, it's a fun thing to paint. It's big by comparison to like Space Marines and stuff. It's a big model the size of it. Knowing what other things are action figures, it's the size of an action figure. It's big. It's small. It's got a lot of detail you could paint, and plus the design is really cool. Like like that hunch.
Iconic.
Yeah, it's an iconic looking piece. Like you see an Imperial Knight and you think 40K. Like, it is such an iconic big mech of the series. And it's so likable. Yeah. The Canis Rex is probably the most common you see, and I just really like it. So it's fun to paint on, fun design, and it's super iconic. Really love the Canis Rex. The next pick I don't have one of, so I wish I did so I could share a picture of it. But it would have to be the old Saturnine Terminator armor for Space Marines. Now this is like old school 40K. Like this is definitely not in any kind of canonical fashion still around as far as I know. But like back, like I want to say first edition, was this Rogue Trader or was it second edition? I'm not sure. It was either second edition or first edition, so we're going back a ways. And I think they recanonized the armor in the lore, but it's like obsolete and shit. But what's an image? I'm trying to find the image directly from the old like White Dwarf comics, or sorry, the magazines. I think I found it.
Oh wait, hang on. Canis Rex, isn't that Latin for Wolf King, like Dog King? I
don't know. Do I look like I speak Latin?
Do I look? Who looks like these fucking speak Latin?
A dead man?
Oh, nice.
Yeah, but this is a Saturnine Terminator.
Shoulder pads McGee.
I fucking love this design. Like
I love a bolter too. Look at it.
Yeah, it's a comically over armored as hell Terminator, but something about it is so fun. Like this design, a lot of people laugh at it, and to be fair, the model is like, it hasn't aged well, right? Like detail wise, But if you take like artwork of it that's been done since, to be fair, there's not a lot of official artwork that's been done of it since, so I gotta like grab like a fan art. I'm trying to find one that's not like a WebD file bullshit. Okay, there we go. Like if you look at the artwork of it, you can kind of see like the idea, right? It's supposed to be a walking fucking tank.
Yeah.
Like, and that's the idea behind Terminators as a whole, right? They're slower than Space Marines are, but they're bigger, they're tougher, they take an immense amount more of abuse, but by God, can they dish it out when they get there. So I really like the Saturn IX Terminator armor. And in many ways, I wish GW still produced models that look like that, because that'd be so fun to do for either Iron Warriors or Imperial Fists. Like, it feels like it fits them very, very well.
Isn't that a Tigris bolter or a Phobos bolter? I think it's a Phobos bolter on the image that you've put.
I think so.
Because I can definitely tell that's the Horus Heresy era armor.
Oh, well, yeah. Like, the Saturn IX armor, in terms of the lore, is... Actually, it's technically pre-heresy, but it's also active during the heresy.
Yeah.
It's ancient armor by modern 41st millennium standards. So it's not aged well, but it's such an attractive model, and honestly, I really like the design. If only we had up-to-date sculpts, that'd be nice. But I don't think GW have any interest in bringing back the Saturn IX armor. As for my third pick, that's a toughie.
I can imagine that that dude in the armor suffers the same problem that Thingy did when he played Batman in the old films, of the fact that if he wants to turn his head, he has to move his whole fucking body to move with it, because his arm is so bulky and static.
That is the only downside.
Oh my.
But at least you're protected while you're turning.
Yeah.
Dude, actually, you know what? The way he's designed, I kind of feel like this would be the perfect design for like a plushie.
Oh my god, yeah. That'd be so... Oh my god, that'd be adorable. He's my little Terminator.
Alright, well, for my final pick, I'll go with the Ironclad Dreadnought. Old school box dread, which some people have come recently out to start mocking them and be like, oh, those old box dreads, kiss my ass, go suck a dick and die. Okay, the box dreads are as iconic to 40k as iconic fucking gets for any franchise. If you think by any stretch that the new dreadnoughts that they're replacing these things with, tabletop-wise, look better, you can suck a fat fucking cock. Shove it up your ass and jump off a cliff. Fuck you. Okay? The box dreads are an iconic design. They are beautiful. I fucking love them. They are a tomb on legs. That is the idea. This smoothed out, rounded out armor version we got now of just standard looking mechs. Fuck you. They're not as cool. They're not as iconic. And the fact that they are replacing actively our box dreads is bullshit.
It's heresy.
So, yes. The Ironclad Dreadnought.
And also, just looking at it for the first time, it looks badass.
Yeah, it's a sarcophagus with arms and legs still shooting at you.
Yeah, it's like in his relaxing death sleep, he could just go on and kill a bunch of Eldars for breakfast. I don't know why I said that. I just yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like, that is such a awesome design, and it looks so much better than the modern fucking dreadnoughts.
Also the little legs. Like, you can't top that.
These
Little-
nice, cute little legs.
For me, it was almost a tie between the Ironclad and the Leviathan. Like, Leviathan is less iconic, ironically, than the Ironclad. That's why I went with the Ironclad. But the Leviathan, I think, is a slightly cooler dreadnought design.
Slightly. I don't know. I'd say the Leviathan looks a lot better.
No, I think personally, I think the Ironclad looks a little bit better.
Leviathan Dreadnought. Just
Yeah,
looking at it
like-
now. Ah.
Yeah, but the Leviathan looks a lot more like structurally sound, and I think it can carry heavier weaponry on it. So therefore, it looks cooler. I'm not dissing the Dreadnought that you posted, because like I said, very iconic. But I do like the Leviathan Dreadnought for how fucking big it is as well.
Hey.
Mm.
As someone with a Leviathan Dread, I still think the Ironclad Dreadnought looks better.
I kind of prefer the Leviathan, but I could definitely respect the Ironclad.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I wish I had like 50 of these Ironclad Dreadnoughts. I sadly only have one in a box, and I never want to open it because now it's the last of its kind.
Don't do it.
I don't intend
Don't
to.
open it. Just let it be. So that's that question answered, I
Yeah.
think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is my Leviathan Dreadnought. As soon as the images load, but yeah, those are my three answers.
Let me see. Ooh, Black Templars. Yeah. Very nice.
What did you think it was going to be, Nico?
Well, obviously Black Templars, but just like
Those
I just
crosses
like
are
it.
hand painted, by the way. Those are not decals.
exactly. I mean, makes you appreciate the effort, you know? Very nice. Very nice. So yeah, anything else, or did you have like an extra? Did you guys have like an extra model you wanted to share, or?
I have like millions I could go through and be like, I really love this one. I love this one. I love this one. Honestly, it's easier to list off the ones I hate.
To be fair, I think I'll add my own third now that you've given me time to look it up. But I think this shouldn't really come as a surprise that like one of the things that appeals to me about 40k is the grandiose scale of everything.
Mhm.
And one model that I absolutely love, and again, given my my love for this faction, I don't think this should come as a surprise. So while the Eldar have the Avatar of Cain, what I love about this faction is definitely the Hierophant Biotitan. That thing looks like it comes directly from fucking Australia itself.
Right,
Colourful. It's colourful. It's spiky. It's menacing. I can imagine seeing
It
one
kills
in real
me
life
every
and
other day on
shitting yourself.
Helldivers.
Yeah.
The last one I just wanted to say, having an extra one is also for me, the Tyranid Swarmlord.
Wait, you're getting a fourth.
Yeah, I'm giving everyone a fourth.
But
if they
Nathan
want.
just gave his third.
Oh, that's his third?
Yeah.
I wanted to make it even. Yeah.
Motherfucker,
I
how
mean,
many more are we gonna
Hey,
add?
you know what? You know what? You know what? If you
Five
guys want to
more.
add one more,
Retcon it.
one-
Retcon it.
just one more, if you guys want.
Asmo, do you want to do one more?
Are we actually doing one more? We're gonna keep adding to this
If you
shit.
if you
That's
want
what I'm
to,
asking you. No. Okay, we'll do one more. We'll do 4 each.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fine. Fine. If I had to do one more, I'll save that one for another time. Let's go with probably the Horus Heresy. It's one of the few resin models I like. The Sanguinius model from Forge World. I really like that one. It was a fun paint job when I did my own. See if I can find the images. But it's a really nice model with a lot of detail. and you're able to get through like every part of the model pretty effectively without having to do sub-assembly. I would argue. So it's pretty good.
Look at that fabulous boy.
I haven't shared it yet.
No, I'm looking up myself.
So you're. So Nico's like, all right, I'm going to ignore what Asma's saying right now and share
No.
what I'm going to share later. And
No, it's just I was just kind of waiting. Oh, look at that! Look at that fabulous boy.
Are you talking about yours or mine now?
Yours.
Okay, just clarifying.
Love the wings. You know, really contrasting the armor.
Thanks.
It's very nice.
It took me a while.
I love the yeah. Definitely love the detail on the wings. Very believable wings, not like pure white and just call it a day, but the shading. You know, the slight blue accents near the base of the wings.
Actually, to achieve that, I painted them blue and then I dry brushed it white.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be my fourth.
Nico, can I have a fourth now?
Yes, you can.
Please, thank you.
Yes, you can.
So, again, another grandiose scale one, and I feel like this is kind of cheating, but you know, because you technically can use this in both 40k and fantasy, but it's Warhammer in general, so fuck it. I love the man, the big bad. It's your boy, Be'lakor.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Like,
Metal. That is just metal.
like that. Like it's literally just a gigantic black demon with a soul sword. Stepping on, I don't fucking know who that is. Who's that down there? Don't care, doesn't matter. Got clapped anyway. Be'lakor's big Chad energy.
Dude, full on. I feel like this model would be like perfect for like the final boss in Doom.
Oh
Just
my
full
god, yeah.
on.
Yeah, I could totally see Doom guy fighting this dude.
Fuck yeah.
He's so cool. I want him, but I don't want to waste money on him.
How much does it cost?
170,
Oh,
I think.
That's a pretty penny.
Be'lakor, the Dark Master.
Well. I mean, then again, there's a price for you two, and then there's a price for me.
Well, yeah, it just flashed the sterling price, which was 95. So let me see what it is in real money.
Fuck off, real money. What like fuck do you pay for your models with? Hamburgers?
No, real money.
Fucking real money. Yeah, okay, Mister abandoned the gold standard early on.
I didn't. My country did because of retards.
Exactly.
It's like an alternative that I found. Of the
Oh
Be'lakor
my
model.
god, he's so stumpy.
Yeah.
He's so stumpy. I love him. It kind of looks like he just got out the shower.
All right, so
Like he's got that towel of like, how fucking dare you invade my house, Ultramarine?
in USD, Be'lakor is $160.
Wow.
So you want to collect and paint this big boy, you gotta shove out probably after taxes, $165.
Or, we can do what we discussed in the first episode of become really good friends with a person from the UK who can ship it out for a fraction of the price.
I'm still writing my list. You'll receive it within the year.
It's like Santa's Christmas list. He's checking it twice. It's like, all right, I got this model, this model, this model, this model. This would be like a mile long.
I am fully expecting like that very classic cartoon moment where like the undo a scroll and then it falls to the ground and just carries on like all the way down the steps.
Well, the thing is, I would mail it to you,
Like a
but
mile.
like the last thing I tried to mail to you never arrived, and I'm still depressed by that.
Well, I mean, it never arrived, but then again, the post office never fucking told me about it, which they should do technically. So you should always get it tracked, at least.
Being
for
someone
me.
who used being someone who used to work at the post office, that is a common thing, and they're
Yeah.
absolute bitches for doing it.
I mean,
Always get
It's
it tracked.
pure. A lot
Always
of
get
it.
it tracked.
like I
Yeah.
told you when I sent it to you, Nathan, like they told me at the post office, like, since it's international, we can't give you a tracking number because there won't be, like, our system doesn't track it once it exits the country. It's like, okay, but then the
that's
receipt,
bullshit.
but then the receipt
That is-
had a tracking number.
Yeah, it did. That's what, like, it's bullshit because, like, whenever, like, I sent packages to fucking Cavantis, I've sent Cavantis, fucking who else, Arctic. They've all come with tracking.
Yeah, like
So,
the one
straight to
I
Germany.
yeah, I shared with you the tracking number that was on the receipt that
I
I
know.
had from the post office. So I was very
I know,
confused.
but you didn't pay for tracking, did you? So that's probably why you didn't get tracking. It was probably like a printing fuck up, or, like, I don't know.
Or, and this is only because I have a bit of insider knowledge, some of this is also just laziness.
Yeah.
Yes, I did.
So, don't worry, Asmo. The thought, and, you know, like, the things that you did, you know, it's very much within my mind. Don't worry, I do appreciate it. Although it would have been nice to have the models with it, but, you know, it's not your fault. Because, to be fair, did the box ever go back to you?
No.
Exactly, which means they probably fucking lost it. Because typically they'd send it back to you.
I never received it back. I never got a notice it was lost. Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, so if I ever send you 40k models and you ever don't get them, yeah, that's why.
So would you say that's the answer? That's the question answered.
I would say fairly, yeah, that's the question answered. I mean, we did like an extra model each and a very good picks all around. I'm surprised you guys didn't go for the derpy ones.
Nah.
Like you all went cool. Like, there's a lot of derpy old 40k models.
There
that
are,
like,
but, like, I don't.
very fun. To
I don't
look through.
love, like, I first of all, I would say I did the Saturn IX Terminator. I'd say it's derpy.
Oh yeah, true.
So I would say I did. That was my second pick. But the thing is, I like the old color and coloration and artwork, like the 2D artwork, like drawings of 40k, like those old 80s style artwork that are fucking iconic. That for me is 40k. Like, that is the aesthetic of 40k. Not what we have now. What we have now, I guess, like, visually matches the thematic tones of 40k. What I liked about what I really liked and what helped get me into 40k was, like, those old artworks of 40k, like with the setting being super dark and uber serious and menacing, but then you had images, you know, like this, right, for coloration, like super bright and vibrant and heavy metal. Like that, it was kind of like how Twisted Metal. That was kind of the same thing. Like, remember those video games back in the day?
Oh yeah.
Like,
It looks like it
classic.
should have like Bad to the Bone guitar riff because of the fucking smiling skeleton, like banana.
yeah, like for me, it's aged like fine wine, but visually the setting is tried to obviously, like, visually match the tone of the setting, which is super grimdark and, like, very like oppressive vibes. But for me, like, that's just not the true, like, vision I see in my head when I think 40. I think of this old artwork, you know. I think of this color vibrancy. That's why I paint my minis with a level of vibrancy, even though a lot of people are going for grimdark style, which is more faded blacks and monotone colors. I don't know, that's just not me, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, Grimdark doesn't, like, there's nothing in Grimdark that says it has to be void of color. It just means that the colors that are going to be everywhere are going to be reminiscent of blood, gore, and decimation.
Well, no, like, what I'm saying is like, it's the contrast, right? Like,
I mean,
the visual we got of 40k was this stuff, right? Like, this was the visual, heavy metal, but super colorful and energetic. It felt alive, right?
That's what I mean. Like, you
Yeah.
know, as long as the colors match the theme of Grimdark. You can basically add any color that you want. You know, it's vibrant, it's lovely, it's very
I mean-
appealing to look at.
Yeah, like the Harlequins, like they're full of color and they're absolute brutal motherfuckers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Tyranids. They look so derpy in Rogue Trader, I swear to God. Yes! The Abaddon one. The absolute classic. How can you go wrong with this?
You could put a microphone in his hand and it'd look like the front of a metal like a metal album cover.
You hear like the music from what was like some of the game, like some of the heavier stuff from like the Guitar Hero ones, like that could be like playing in the background, and they're just
Yeah.
having a fight.
Yeah.
We'll go to war. Something
It
like
looks-
that. I don't know. The thing is, like, if it's rock music that is just like, it's like I immediately lose interest because I'm just like, what the fuck are you saying?
I mean, I guess death metal's not for everybody.
No.
Mm. Yeah. He kind of looks like he's the vocalist for the dude that sings like disrespect your surroundings.
I love that shit. Not gonna lie. That's my shit.
Yeah, no, I think it's fair. That question is fairly. Oh yeah, that iconic piece of artwork. I do love that.
Oh,
Yeah,
mama.
again, this is what I see when I think 40K. Dark setting, but vibrant appearance.
Although I still will attest to that Titan's left arm cannon looking like a giant penis.
I'm just noticing it now.
Sorry. It's just like
I don't want to think
Just like-
that if we really put our mind to it, we could just kill Nico with laughter.
I've already got enough experience with Susie, so don't worry. I'll
Also-
develop that ability.
Speaking of that model, maybe it's just me, but does it
look like he had a wedgie? Like he had a full blown wedgie?
Who?
The red model.
What do you mean? What do you mean? The red multiple? Pretty much most of them are red.
The Imperial Knight, or yeah,
Oh, the Titan.
the Titan. Sorry, Titan.
Oh,
It just kind of looks
fuck.
like he has a friggin' wedgie.
You fucking. God damn, those are stuck up there like that. Like the only thing you can see is that motherfucker's legs. Like no wonder he's grimacing in his skull. Forced to fight orcs with like your underpants like straight up that crack. Good loss.
Oh my! And you see the stumper with like the knives, like right there on the bottom. I'm just like,
You
wonder
stab
if
your
this is-
shins.
I stab your shins
Alright.
there, love. It's
So,
that British representation.
at this point, we're just kind of trailing entirely off. So,
Well, I was gonna finish it until you posted that fucking artwork, Mister.
so I think we've answered these questions, and we've got one in reserve for a whole episode. So,
Uh-huh.
I want to thank everybody for watching this episode of VoxWork. We've had a good old time. We went on tangents as we always do. It's awesome. I love it. That's why you're all here. That's why we're here. I always love banting with these boys, my boys. So let's end up here, unless anyone has anything else they'd like to say or shell out.
Put in the comments. What do you think's better, the box dreadnought or the Leviathan dreadnought?
yeah.
Ironclad for the win. Ironclad for the win. Ironclad for the win. You know,
Leviathan, fuck you.
you know I'm correct.
You are not
did-
correct. Your Leviathan can be taken out by just wrapping around its legs around like a 3mm fucking curb.
You mean my ironclad?
Yeah, you're ironclad.
Why can
My Leviathans are fucking superior because at least they've got opposable knee joints.
I actually own a Leviathan, so you say mine like I don't have any.
What can I? The thing is, like, I can
My
see
choice,
like
bitch.
between the two of you, it's like I can see like the Simpson meme where they go like, "Go Apple, go Orange," but instead it's just like the "Go Ironclad, go Leviathan."
Vote Ironclad. Box dreads for the
Vote
win.
Leviathan.
All right. So anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe, of course. Nicho, by the way, also make sure to check out his channel. Nathan also check out his channel. And just one last thing to throw in: Nicho has been doing animated VoxWorks or VoxWork animateds on his channel. So if you want to see a little funny little clip compilation / animatics, he's been doing those. Very entertaining. Watch them. There's 2 up. There's gonna be a 3rd up soon, hopefully. And otherwise, I think we're all good to go. So my name has been Asmogan.
My name's been Nathan X2000.
My name has been Nico 40K.
And we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
B.